A $2,000 value free. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. But you have to act now. Visit EnduranceWarranty.com or call 1-866-971-1180 for a free quote. That's 1-866-971-1180.
All right, welcome back as we take a live look here in Brighton, Michigan. Good morning to all of our First Edition viewers in Michigan. We appreciate you tuning in. Of course, we show you Brighton because it is nearby, about 22-minute drive away from Milford, Michigan. That's where President Trump goes today.
Yeah, he's going to be there. And there was also that news of the Gordie Howe Bridge, which is going to open here this week. That connects Canada and Michigan. This was something that the Canadian government footed the bill on to try to get that congestion off of the Ambassador Bridge relieved. So President Trump, we'll see whether or not he brings that up today. I know he wasn't too happy about it earlier on this year.
So talking potentially about tariffs, the economy,
automotive sector too.
Yes,
will be another
job
big one.
Creation. And that's always something to watch for today. So again, that will be later on this afternoon. We'll be watching to see the president's movements there.
Absolutely.
All right, that's going to
wrap it up here
for us today. Thanks so much for joining us here on First Edition.
We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early. Right News Now starts right now.
Welcome home to theDove TV, encouraging and informative for the Pacific Northwest and Northern California.
Good morning. You're tuned to theDove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you and happy Monday, coming out of the weekend, heading down another week. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Perry, along with our buddy Steve Johnson down there at the Southern Command, in charge of the whole world. Everything south of the 84 parallel he's in charge of.
Just a mild responsibility.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, good morning to you. A lot in the news, there always is. We'll give you an unbelievable update on the fires in the state of Oregon. The Pacific Northwest, Steve, is just burning. It's the worst season we've seen in years. And well over 1.5 million acres between Oregon and Washington. So it's not good. We'll give you an update on that. A little bit cooler today, which we welcome, but not a whole lot. Still, we are in the middle of summer. We're going to wrap up July this week. Wow, it's hard to believe that already. Anyway, good morning to you. A lot in the news. What do you got going, bud?
Well, you want to know what today is kind of known for? Well, I should say what it should be known for. It is Love is Kind Day.
Oh, 2 Corinthians.
I think we need 13. To pass around a little love on a Monday, don't you think?
Corinthians 13, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they take it from that, but that sounds good.
Well, love is kind, love is gentle.
Yes,
love doesn't puff
true.
up. Yep, okay.
Maybe this is from a biblical resource. I don't know. It would make sense if it was. It's also, let's see, National New Jersey Day, apparently. And let's see, that my screen is not dealing with me really fast here, so bear with me on that. I guess be kind to people who are moving to Oregon from New Jersey. That would be a good thing to do. And, you know, there were a couple other things. Oh, hold on. Okay, it came back. It's also National Creme Brulee Day.
Oh.
Which that's something you like, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know that I've had it that much.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't take much to like it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, good.
Yeah.
A National Korean War Veterans Armistice Day.
Oh.
I didn't realize that. I'm glad that they're reminding us of that because that's a forgotten war. And there you go. I forgot that this is the armistice for that particular day that happened on this date in history. So, yeah, I would say for all those who were in the Korean War, we thank you for your service and, you know, buy a veteran something with creme brulee.
Well, Oregon has one of the few Korean War memorials.
That's true. Yes, I do remember that now.
Yeah,
where is that?
It's up on Interstate 5. It's in and around the Woodburn area. And
okay.
it's right off the freeway there, and you can get off and go visit it. It's one of the few in the United States. Yeah.
See, that's unfortunate. That's why it's the kind of the forgotten war. 1953 on this date was the armistice, by the way.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, that's a lot going on there. All right. Good morning to you. Weather-wise, well, let's check out and see what we're in for.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the low to mid 80s in Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville. Early patchy fog for McMinnville before turning sunny in 82. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions dominate in Salem and Eugene near 84. Albany begins with patchy fog before sunny skies and a high of 83, while Corvallis becomes sunny and 82. Central Oregon sees patchy smoke giving way to sunshine with highs reaching 89 in Prineville, 86 in Bend, and 85 in Sun River. Boise stays smoky, sunny, and hot with a high of 94. Along the Oregon coast, Coos Bay becomes sunny with a high of 70. Decreasing clouds bring highs in Portland to 67 and Brookings 56, while patchy fog in Crescent City turns 65 and mostly sunny. In southern Oregon, sunshine continues across the region with highs of 91 in Grants Pass, 92 in Medford, 88 in Ashland, and 86 in Klamath Falls, with lows tonight dropping into the 50s. Across Northern California, sunny weather continues with highs of 92 in Wairika, 98 and hot in Redding, 95 in Chico and mostly sunny, and 63 in Fort Bragg. Around the Bay Area, patchy fog gives way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs of 89 and 86. San Francisco stays sunny near 74, while San Jose becomes sunny with a high of 83. For Central California, clear and sunny skies persist with highs of 93 in Sacramento, 92 in Stockton and Modesto, and 98 in Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield. I'm Matt's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
And there's an iconic picture. That's actually live from the top of Roxanne this morning, looking to the northeast. That's Mount McLaughlin way out there. And, of course, it's a clear indication that the daylights are getting a little shorter, so the sun's not quite up yet. So beautiful day in the neighborhood.
That's right. And even though you see a little bit of the I guess you'd say the cover from the fires, it doesn't look too bad. You can't taste it when you go outside.
It's okay here in southern Oregon, at least here in the valley this morning. But, boy, there's parts of the state I'll show you here in a little bit. It's not good.
All right. Wait for the winds to shift a little bit, huh? Well, Johnny Erickson Todd always has something insightful to say, and I am intrigued by this clip that we have for you. She says that waiting on God might be kind of a quiet time for you, but she says for God there's a whole lot of shaking going on, and Isaiah 64:4 in the Old Testament is to see how you can find out how God is working for you.
When we wait on the Lord, sometimes we get the idea that nothing's happening. God is silent. He's not moving. He's just waiting on us to see how well we wait on him. But lots more is going on than that. Isaiah 64 says, "The Lord works on behalf of those who wait on him." Isn't that encouraging? God is working for you. He's doing stuff. He's moving and shifting things. He's pressing upon people, lining up events, removing barriers and building bridges. And he's doing it all of it, as you wait on him, resting and praying. So, waiting on the Lord may, for you, mean a time of quiet yielding. But for God, it's a whole lot of shaking going on as he moves his will forward in your life. So be patient and wait, because God's at work. Good words for you today from Isaiah chapter 64, verse 4. Look it up.
Yeah, look it up. Yeah.
Another reason to look at the Old Testament. It's got value.
Yes, it does. And waiting. 3 answers to prayer: yes, no, and wait. There you go. All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at some of the top stories on this Back at It Monday morning. And, well, for the second straight day, America, the United States, has paused its attacks on Iran. And we'll see, it said it has done so in efforts to continue to bring the country back to the negotiation table. Well, we'll see. Ceasefire delay largely undetermined by recent exchange of fires, and I don't know if this is going to do anything, but apparently there has been a 2-day pause, and yet there seems to be a lot more going on with this. And Steve, I know you have an update from the Prime Minister.
That's right. In fact, over the weekend, he talked on Fox News saying, you know, the one way this is going to have to be resolved is the toppling of the Iranian regime.
It will take that for Iran to understand, either for this regime to fall or for Iran to realize that the cost of wreaking economic chaos to the world, murdering its thousands of its own citizens, and shooting at everyone. I mean, literally at everyone. At Saudi Arabia, at Bahrain, at Qatar, at Kuwait, at the UAE, at Israel, at Jordan, every single one. I mean, this is what this regime is doing when they don't have nuclear weapons. So imagine what they would do if they had nuclear weapons. I think when this regime is either toppled or it's sufficiently weakened that it knows it has to end its nuclear program and has to change its course. That's really what President Trump is trying to achieve, and I back his fully.
Well, we'll wait and see. Can you negotiate with them? I think it's proven that you can't. So what is the road ahead? And satellite images show that they're rebuilding like crazy. I mean, they are literally trying to get back into the game like crazy. So you kind of ask yourself, you know, this is really tough. You don't want to be pro-war. I mean, innocent people die in war, but you got to look at this regime and ask yourself, who are these people? What are they trying to accomplish here? But
when you think of the conflict in that area, and you think of Ukraine as being a different conflict, well, over the weekend, apparently Ukraine shot at a ship because it was carrying supplies from, and we're talking about in the Gulf region, right, to Russia. And so now Iran, are they going to get involved to say you can't be shooting ships that come from Iran to Russia? I mean, this whole thing, you talk about the moving pieces there, and this gets really complicated. I'm sorry, I can't help but think of the chess pieces that moved prior to World War I, and they were seemingly unrelated until all of a sudden they weren't.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that works, because when we started hearing about Ukraine now being involved in the Gulf conflict, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, it is. And that's a good analogy. Good stuff. All right. Well, good morning to you. Back in the States, we know there's a lot of migration going on between, Oregon's losing some people. California's losing a ton of people. Washington State's losing. Where are they all going? Well, they're going to various places, but the one state that seems to be really ringing the bell is Texas, down in the Fort Worth, Austin, and San Antonio areas. So you got the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you got Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. They are gaining people to the point of, just within the last couple of, last report from the IRS, $5 billion in adjusted gross incomes have moved into that state, if you can imagine that.
Wow. Wow.
Now, you look at that, and they say now that the, that the Fort Worth, Dallas area is the largest area of its type. In other words, it's added more residents than any other metropolitan area in the country over the past year, while Houston, Austin, and San Antonio rank among the nation's fastest growing metro areas. But the Dallas-Fort Worth is by far the biggest in the United States. Wow.
That's amazing. We hear about Florida so often, and Texas, but normally Florida's been kind of the focus. Probably mostly from New York and that area. That's amazing to hear.
Yeah, I don't know if Texas in itself is the draw.
What do you think is then?
Well, cowboy hats and
okay.
rodeos and barbecue.
Well, see, I align that with Texas, so there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just it's kind of a wild thing to see what's going on there. So anyway, Texas is growing like crazy. Well, over the weekend, Germany had a problem, right, Steve?
We had some violence both in the United States and in Germany abroad. For people who think that somehow Islam is favorable to the gay movement, you see gays for Gaza and all the rest. Well, Abdul Balat, a German citizen, apparently who is Islamic, was killed following a search. Now, early on, it was 24 hours after apparently he drove a van into a crowd, killing one person and injuring 29 others. And this was Saturday night. And then he stabbed others with a machete in what they think was, and German authorities are saying this, it was an Islamic extremist terror attack. Now, that's a direct link that normally you hear them kind of backing off a little bit in European countries. They won't say, well, it was an Islamist attack, but apparently it was in this case. I don't know if this will get people to start thinking that when you see on YouTube, and I've seen so many of these videos, you'll see a gay pride flag next to a Gaza flag. And so many people comment saying, if you were to take your agenda to Gaza, you wouldn't last very long. And in this case, this was an Islamist attack on Germany, according to the officials right there.
You wonder if the gay pride movement understands what you just said.
Well, I don't think so. I see so many videos and on X or Twitter, I still call it Twitter, you go on there and you'll see that they're trying to link for it. They had a gay pride march for Gaza. Gays for Gaza is what they called it. And I don't think they quite understand, because if they were to try to do the same thing in the region, it would probably last for about 1.5 feet, and then that would be the end of the parade right there. So I don't know, Perry. It's kind of one of those things we're not taking a very broad approach of all of this, but Islamists would not stand for the homosexual agenda, to be quite blunt.
All right, so then the other quick question is, will Mayor Mondani allow for gay pride to have its parade in New York City in the future?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. By the way, I don't know if you knew this, but talking about Mondani, there is a survey, not a survey, it's a ballot item that you can take online to prevent the mayor from going to the 9/11 commemoration, because they're saying he's been so opposed, saying that perhaps the 9/11 attack was in some way justified back in 2001. And so over 11,000 people have signed this, just pretty much most of it this morning, saying we don't want Mondani at our commemoration. But of course, I don't think they can prevent that. He is the mayor of New York. But there is pushback, is my point. It gets pretty crazy there. So it's kind of a different issue there.
Unbelievable. What happened up in Seattle over the weekend?
Seattle had another problem right there. They were under the search for a second suspect following a food festival shooting. It killed 3 people. Now, this is just something they've had for years. In Tucson, they have Taste of Tucson. You'll have different kind of food festivals in Oregon as well. And so these are normally people coming together, and they have different cultural foods and all that stuff. Well, apparently investigators say 2 suspects were shooting at each other on Sunday. 1 remains on the loose. But again, you have 3 people who were killed as a result of all of this. Seattle Police Assistant Chief Tyrone Davis says it's really the police who are to be commemorated for stopping this when they did.
Thankfully, we had officers on the scene that were brave, went to those shots, and prevented more victims from being injured. This is going to be an ongoing investigation. We're going to be out here for several hours trying to figure out exactly what happened tonight. Right now, we believe that we have no outstanding threat to the community. We do have 1 suspect that is being interviewed. We've recovered 2 guns. It's one thing to note, one of the 4 victims that was taken to the hospital was a toddler.
So they're looking at this saying, was this gang related or what? But again, another public event that's just no political agenda or anything there. It's just a time for the community to get together, as they have for decades.
Yeah.
You have a shooting.
Whoa, okay. Good morning to you, 17 past the hour. One other quick story is, back in April, they were right in the middle of the traditional White House Correspondents' Dinner when shots broke out, and that pretty much ended that. The president, the vice president, everybody was escorted out of the building, and the suspect was shot and killed. So they decided to put that event back together, and they did on Friday night, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is kind of an interesting thing, because the president's supposed to go there and be lighthearted. Some of the ones in the past were really pretty good. I remember the one, who was the comedian that could act like George W. Bush? He was what do you call the people?
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name because once he got out of office, there wasn't much of a demand for him.
Yeah, well, do you remember the one where he and the president were together at the podium?
Yes, they were right next to each other, and it was uncanny. The guy didn't just sound like him. He looked like him.
All of his mannerisms and everything.
It was funny.
Yeah, it really was a hoot. So anyway, this is the time for the president to be lighthearted, and such is the case this last Friday night. And here's a little bit of a clip.
Everyone's looking really good tonight, and I know it was not easy finding shoes to go along with your bulletproof vest, which many people didn't want to wear because they'd rather die than look 20 pounds heavier. You know that, right? We have that a lot. They put one on me. I said, "Are you sure I'm not wearing this?" No, you look exactly 20. They say, "Sir, it's about 21 pounds." I said, "Not good."
That is hilarious. That's funny.
Finding shoes that match your bulletproof. That's a good line. All right, so
maybe you should get bulletproof vests for your shoes, so you have a whole wardrobe of bulletproof vests. That's sad when our country comes to this level.
Oh, yeah. All right. We have to laugh at ourselves once in a while. We got to do that. All right. Good morning. That's some of the top stories on this Monday morning. We'll take a quick banana break. We'll be right back.
God only knows what they say about you, but God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows what you've been through.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? When you want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life, call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America. You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs. Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching. Watch Real Life with Jack Hibbs Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV.
Okay, welcome back. Stephen Perry with you this morning. 21 minutes now past the hour. A little bit of a backyard upgrade on what's going on with some of the fires that are out there. The bench fire of the weekend exploded, and it jumped the lines. It's just west of Madras, excuse me, and it quickly went up to 6,200 acres. We have some serious problems going on here, folks, and I'll give you a list of these. And it's changing as I speak. But first of all, the one in our own backyard is seemingly getting a handle on it. The East Evans fire is still around 15,000 acres, 66% contained. The bench fire, as I mentioned earlier, jumped. It's at 40,000 acres, zero containment, taking in parts of Jefferson County. The Aqua fire, the Aqua Butte fire, Deschutes County and parts of that area up there is 27,000 acres, 5% contained. Let's see here. The Brewer fire, which still takes in parts of Crook County and Jefferson County, 51,000 acres, 5%. If you look at that map there, All those red dots are fires, and that's primarily Oregon and Washington that you're looking at. The Roe Creek Complex fire, now this is made up of a bunch of fires. If you look at that cluster right there in the middle, those are what they call complex fires. Together, that's 208,000 acres, 31%. The Hay Creek fire, now that, by the way, that takes in Crook, Wheeler, and Wasco and Jefferson County. The Hay Creek County, which is way up there towards Highway 84, 182,000 acres, 60% contained. The Fox Fire, 43,000 acres. The Bate Fire and these, what they call the Second Fleet Fire, 85,000 acres, which is kind of out towards, well, all of this is in eastern Oregon. We are looking at, between the two states, over 1.5 million acres burning. In Oregon alone, it's around 800,000 acres that are burning. It's one of the worst seasons we see. Outside our door, over here, are 4 air tankers. Over there, there are 2 DC-10s, and they're not fighting the fires in our backyard. There's so many smaller air tankers at Redmond, all out and around the Redmond area, that they couldn't handle any more of the small tanker fires there, so they send them down here. So they have to go where there's a tanker base, and we are one of the tanker bases. So they'll come in here, they'll get fuel, and they'll also get the fire retardant in the airplanes and load it up. And then they fly from here over to that fire zone there in Central Oregon and dump their load and come back. And that doesn't mention the ones that are on the ground there in Redmond, which are a bunch, and then helicopters all over the place. So the assets are there, but they're being stretched and they're very thin. But folks, this is one horrible season, and it's really hard to keep track of all of it. But pray for these guys and gals and the service people are on the front line. It's tough, brave, courageous work. All the assets that need to be from fire trucks. A lot of going on what they call structure prevention, where these local fire departments will send a truck and a crew to be on standby to protect structures. It's just unbelievable. It's one of the worst nightmares we've ever seen. So we have a long ways to go before we see some really cool weather. So pray for these people. They're really upside down. So. Yeah.
There's also fires in Europe. You know, this is a hot time. I noticed it was going to be 91 in Barcelona today and 90 in Paris. That's pretty hot there, since only 20% of the people have air conditioning, believe it or not. Well, they say about 55,000 people were evacuated overnight on Sunday alone. 55,000, and that's a staggering 220,000 in just one region. And specifically in the wine region of Bordeaux is the concern right now because of so many vineyards that are there, and a lot of the fires are burning. I mean, you look at this, and whether it's a fire in Europe or a fire in southern Oregon even. I mean, I think back to the fire that happened, that came through the area just south of Medford, and this looks just like it, to tell you the truth. It's just the roof tiles are a little different. That's the only thing. Right. And they said that tens of thousands were evacuated from the Gironde and Landes area in France, and also near Madrid in Spain. We're talking about the capital city there. Wow. So there are a lot of people in that region too. So it's not just you know, in our area here where the fires are, but they're all over, aren't they?
What's that in your lap there, Steve?
A moose decided to jump up in my lap.
Oh.
So yeah, it's moose. So.
Hi, moose.
He normally doesn't jump up that high, and so I can kind of keep him down like where he is right now.
Okay, there you go.
Anyway, fires everywhere.
Be careful. Be very careful. Here's a picture of the satellite image for the Pacific Northwest. We're looking at severe clear. Now, I will say this, the barometer going up and down the way it is, we get these afternoon winds late in the afternoon, early evening. I mean, they're just gusting like crazy.
Wow.
So that doesn't help, but most of California and Oregon is looking at pretty much clear skies, some activity up over Washington. We do have some higher humidity, so this heat could produce some afternoon thunderstorms, but for the most part, no big weather patterns out there right now. So there you go.
Yeah. It's one of those areas where we had almost a windstorm coming up. I was driving up to Phoenix over the weekend, and that's another concern that we have in our area for sure that way. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about Christine Drazan. You know, I like her. When she was running for governor, very nice person. You know, she's just very nice. Well, she spoke with Fox News and Fox and Friends over the weekend. She's running for governor again in Oregon. Asked why she thought that running against Tina Kotek was different this time than last time when she ran for governor.
The last time we ran, we had 3 women in that race, and an independent in that race impacted our outcomes. But really, that last time Tina ran like she was going to be able to solve problems and fix stuff. Now she has a record.
Right.
She can't run from it. She can't avoid it. You know, she's doing everything she can to talk about something else, but really her record is damning, and Oregonians are just sick and tired of the nonsense. I actually believe that this race, that we're up today in this race, we have seen a variety of data all over our state and all kinds of legislative seats and all kinds of statewide indicators that we actually are up today, but it's only July.
Yeah.
This is, you know, you're up in the first inning. Like, we have a long way to go to November. It is going to be a hard fight. You know, it's a record of failure. There's no getting around it. We're talking about homelessness, despite massive investments increasing by 35% in the state of Oregon, while nationally it's gone down. We also have cost of living here that is uniquely high. We're 4th and 5th highest for food and gas prices. And that's really all about a climate agenda where they're determined to just jack up energy prices unless it's solar and wind, which they're anxious to constantly subsidize. So we're talking about common sense things that right now are affecting policies for our state that Tina's responsible for. But we have failing schools despite historic investment. Worst in the nation for reading and math, and that's not good enough for our kids. And frankly, families are voting with their feet.
Yeah.
They're taking more and more of their kids out of their public schools. They're putting them in private and charter and homeschooling, everything else, because they recognize our public schools are going the wrong direction right now. So that record is across issues.
Well, look, she's doing good. She is polling very, very well right now. What's interesting about this is that I think with the sour taste in everybody's mouth was the current governor really tried to do us a number with all these tax hikes, especially as it came to the gas tax. I mean, you talk about something imploding in front of you. The governor's efforts to pass a $5.2 trillion bill and then settle for 15, excuse me, and then settle for, 5, and then settle for 2.3. It's pretty crazy, and people got pretty ticked off about it to the point where a citizens' referendum pushed it back down her throat. I think Tina has a great chance. We're seeing some good numbers. We're going to pick up a Senate seat here in Southern Oregon.
You mean Christine?
Yes, what did I say? I'm sorry, Christine.
Yeah.
Got too much in my brain. I had Senator Starr in the studio with me on Friday, and he is the one who's really in charge of all the Republican races, as being the Senate leader on the Republican side in the Senate, and he's tracking all this stuff, and it looks promising. It could be that Oregon and possibly California could see a governor's race flip, and this would be big, really.
That would be
really
huge.
Big, yeah. So
you know what? I have advice for Christine. I think she has a very good sense of appropriateness and knowing what the issues are to deal with. Go with that and forget the consultants. I think that's what kind of bit her a little bit last time, was she was listening to what the consultants were saying too much. And I think her common sense approach is the right one. I mean, I look at, I'm not comparing her to Donald Trump, but do you think Donald Trump would listen to consultants? He would do whatever it is he thinks is appropriate because he's kind of in touch that way. I would say Christine is also in touch. And just do what you see at the moment that you need to talk about, and don't let them censor you.
Well, she's experienced. She knows how it works. She's been around. She understands the budgeting process. She knows all the agencies. She's got everything going in the right direction. And to your point is, sometimes consultants work off of polls. Consultants will put out polls, and then they come back and try to manage a campaign according to a poll result.
Yeah.
The problem is, here's the problem. The people doing the polls, are they given the right questions to ask?
Mm-hmm.
And like most polls, you can sway a poll. You know, you can take what we call push polls. You can push a question that gets you the answer that you want. And I think, to your point, she has a great sense of boots on the ground, so to speak, feeling for what Oregonians really want, instead of just high finance politics. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think so. She
sharp.
talks to everybody.
She is sharp.
All the time.
Yeah, she is sharp. All right, 28 minutes before the hour on a beautiful Back at It Monday morning. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Up on the heights,
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets a Vision TV show apart, seen on the Dove TV.
Welcome to The Vision, where the world has a view, but God has the vision.
The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference.
My group, we are a collective of elder rights activists from across the nation.
Each episode blends heartfelt storytelling with practical insight.
To get up every day and just say, Lord, thank you. I'm here. If you woke me up today, you must have a purpose for me, and I think that's the thing.
Encouraging viewers to live with clarity, compassion, and vision.
We're looking for good things because this is the day that the Lord has made.
Join Alveda King and a panel of friends. The world has a view, but God has the vision. Tuesdays at 1:30 and 8:30 p.m. right here on the Dove TV.
He's got the whole world in his hands, and he knows the plans for us. Above and beyond we could ask or imagine. His grace is more than enough. It's in his hands. It's in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Come on, Steve.
Welcome back. 25 minutes before the hour on this Back at It Monday morning. Stephen Perry with you today. Well, you know, the Middle East is the Middle East, and every time you turn around, something different is happening. But have we ever thought about,
Sorry, that's a great way of putting it.
Yes.
Every time you turn around, something's happening.
Yeah, well, something different is happening. Here's a thought. Have we ever thought about the Christian persecution inside those countries in the middle of a war? All right. Let's check in with CBN News. They have an update on that.
The Revolutionary Guard Corps seized a Christian church in Tehran. A few weeks ago, we told you about the historic St. Peter Evangelical Church. IRGC officials had informed church leaders that the building and property belongs to the state and ordered them to leave. Now the government has sealed the doors of the church and banned all church gatherings. Several Christian families living on the grounds have fled the premises. Security forces are pressuring the remaining 3 families to leave. Todd Nettleton is Vice President of Message for the Voice of the Martyrs and joins us now for more. Todd, tell us, why did the government seize this church, and do church leaders have any recourse?
Well, this is really an amazing story because this church, until 2 Sundays ago, they had been having worship services for 154 years consecutively. That's through the Islamic Revolution right up to today. The other fascinating thing is they were having these services in Farsi. Now, Farsi worship services in Iran are illegal, but because this church had both Assyrians and Armenians, which are considered to be Christian background people, they were allowed to have the service, but their common language was Farsi. So it was being held in Farsi, like I say, for 154 years until 2 weeks ago. Now the government is saying, hey, this property was owned by foreigners, so we're taking it over. They don't have a right to it any longer. The church is saying, no. The foreign mission workers that started the church, they transferred ownership to Iranians. So it's owned by Iranians. You can't do that. But so far, the government has prevailed.
Are there any other examples of persecution against Christians in Iran?
There are so many examples. Christians who have been arrested even since the war started. One of the challenges for Christians in Iran right now is they are seen as allies of America and allies of Israel. And so Christianity is considered a Western religion. America is considered a Christian nation. And so Christians are seen as our allies. And obviously that has made them targets over the last 4 months.
You call them targets. It appears that Iran is targeting them as enemies of the state, making them scapegoats for the war. So what's their rationale, and how's that playing out on the ground?
Well, it is making life difficult for our Christian brothers and sisters. They were already under threat. They were already in danger before the war started. But now to be seen as allies of Israel, allies of America, makes them even more under threat. We know of Christians who've been detained since the war started, and so it's really a strategic time for us to pray for our brothers and sisters in Iran.
So tell us, Todd, how can we pray for them and support the church in Iran?
You know, one of the ways is to pray for God's protection over them. Obviously, not only protection from the government, but also protection in the fighting, in the bombings that are happening. I think we can also pray for opportunities for outreach. You know, as there is fighting, as there is dying happening around people, they tend to think about eternity. They tend to think about, you know, well, what happens after we die? That can be an opportunity for witness. It can be an opportunity for evangelism. And I know our brothers and sisters in Iran are thinking that way of how can we take advantage? How can we plant gospel seeds during this time? So let's pray that God will open doors for evangelism as well.
Indeed. Well, let's talk about India now. A law that's in Parliament threatens Christian ministries there. The Foreign Contributions Regulation Act seeks to regulate foreign funding of non-governmental organizations, and Christians fear it could lead to persecution and the repression of Christian churches, orphanages, and schools which receive support from international groups. Todd, what's the likelihood this act will pass India's parliament? And if it does, what would be the impact?
Well, the impact is quite severe, and it's interesting because the Ministry of Home Affairs has already issued, just in June, issued new regulations that put some of this into effect already. So they're trying to do this first through regulation from the Ministry of Home Affairs, but now they're actually trying to codify it into law. And so that's what this act before Parliament is. One of the things that these new regulations have said is you cannot take money from a foreign source. So say, you know, my church sends money to an orphanage in India. That would be foreign money coming in. This new regulation says you cannot use that for conversion-related activities, for proselytism, but it doesn't actually define what proselytism is. So if I'm caring for orphans with food and clothing, they could say, well, that's proselytism. Your ultimate goal is to make those orphans become Christians. So that's part of the problem with this law is it doesn't define what you're not allowed to do. The other part is just the control of incoming money. The law was updated in 2020 so that all foreign money coming in has to come through a single bank where the government can watch it. The government can watch who's sending it and who it's going to in India. The ultimate issue here is control. They want to control Christian ministry. They want to make sure that more Hindus are not being reached with the gospel. That's part of their Hindu nationalist philosophy.
Well, the reality of that, hope we understand that. Christian persecution, across the landscape is by far greater than we anticipate or even understand sitting over here in America sometimes. The price that some people are paying. All right, let's check out the weather on this Back at It Monday morning.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the low to mid 80s in Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville. Early patchy fog for McMinnville before turning sunny in 82. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions dominate in Salem and Eugene near 84. Albany begins with patchy fog before sunny skies and a high of 83, while Corvallis becomes sunny and 82. Central Oregon sees patchy smoke giving way to sunshine with highs reaching 89 in Prineville, 86 in Bend, and 85 in Sun River. Boise stays smoky, sunny, and hot with a high of 94. Along the Oregon coast, Coos Bay becomes sunny with a high of 70. Decreasing clouds bring highs in Portland to 67 and Brookings 56, while patchy fog in Crescent City turns 65 and mostly sunny. In southern Oregon, sunshine continues across the region with highs of 91 in Grants Pass, 92 in Medford, 88 in Ashland, and 86 in Klamath Falls, with lows tonight dropping into the 50s. Across Northern California, sunny weather continues with highs of 92 in Wairika, 98 in Haunt and Redding, 95 in Chico and mostly sunny, and 63 in Fort Bragg. Around the Bay Area, patchy fog gives way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs of 89 and 86. San Francisco stays sunny near 74, while San Jose becomes sunny with a high of 83. For Central California, clear and sunny skies persist with highs of 93 in Sacramento, 92 in Stockton and Modesto, and 98 in Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield. I'm Matt's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Well, this is a very historic day in history. You know, just a couple weeks ago, we were in the throes of the international FIFA games. They're pretty exciting. You know, I think Americans found a new love of soccer that they didn't have before. Well, on this date, it was a royal opening of the 30th Summer Olympic Games on this day.
On this day in 2012, Queen Elizabeth II officially opened the London Olympic Games with little help from James Bond. The world was expecting the usual royal ceremony. Instead, a short film appeared on giant screens showing actor Daniel Craig as 007 arriving at Buckingham Palace to escort the Queen to the opening ceremony. After a quick trip through the palace, Bond and Her Majesty boarded a helicopter and flew over London toward the Olympic Stadium. Then came the moment that stunned millions watching around the world. Two figures, the Queen herself and then Bond, appeared to parachute from the helicopter into the stadium. Moments later, Queen Elizabeth walked into the arena to thunderous applause and officially opened the 30th Olympic Games. It was a rare glimpse of the monarch's sense of humor and one unforgettable entrance fit for a queen and for 007.
It was pretty good. And just the beginning of it. Remember when she had a toast with the Paddington Bear as well?
Yeah.
She had a sense of humor
She
that I
did.
think people didn't realize.
She did. Yeah, you kind of miss her grace, don't you? She was a amazing lady. All right, Anthony George, Dr. Anthony George, well, he's quite the pastor. He's one of the new communicators out there. Takes a look at the concept of America on stolen ground. He goes, what's behind this agenda? And here's what he had to say.
The truth is, I've never heard anybody who said they were on stolen land give the deed to their house back to an Indian tribe. I've never seen it happen. So if you're so hung up on the stolen land, why don't you start giving it back? Well, the problem is your house might be on top of some of that. So you see, and there are people, and yes, I get it. You're free to go, free to go. The point I'm making is simply this. Stop burdening the rest of us with meaningless diatribe when all of that is an agenda to topple the good that God has done. And where is all of this headed? Forget what I said about the presidential center. Forget about America being on. The end game is not just convincing America that we're on stolen ground. The end game from the spiritual warfare perspective is convincing the world that Israel is on stolen ground. That's where this is all headed. And see, this is what is so sad to me. You have people who are so bound up in their culture that they refuse to let the Word of God shatter the stronghold of deception. That's what bothers me. You cannot make a God out of your culture. I'm telling you what I'm preaching today, I didn't learn because I'm following somebody on social media. Let me tell you who I follow. It's a man I met when I was 16 years old. He is Jesus. And let me tell you something else. He was a Jew. He was a Jew. God gave us this Bible through his Jewish people. He gave us his Son through the Jewish people. And one day, because those people have been regathered, not perfect, flawed, committing many injustices, which must be called out, but God has reassembled them nonetheless, because it is when they are reassembled that we know the time is soon for Christ to return. That's what we're talking about.
Well, he was a little fired up there.
Willing to take on the tough subjects.
Yeah, he puts a little jalapeno in his coffee in the morning. I
have no idea what that tastes like.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Jerry's Historical Archives. U.S. History. Great moments in time. Record breakers. Our music through the years. Historic leaders. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. Nostalgia.
It's a wonderful trip down memory lane with fun and interesting stories you might not know about. Relive the past and learn something new.
Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
Okay, welcome back. Just the other day, I had Leighton Gray. I get all my people mixed up here. Leighton Gray.
Yeah.
He's quite a guy. He's an attorney. He lives up in Canada. And I mentioned to him that as humans, we sense something is wrong as Christians, and we have an idea what it is, but do non-believers have an idea what it is? We sense something is wrong with the culture, but can we really put our finger on it? He's quite a guy, and here's what he had to say.
Oh, it certainly does. And the war, the battleground for that war, I believe, Perry, is truth. And, I always come back to this famous conversation between our Lord and Pilate, where, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He says, I am the truth. I embody the truth. And Pilate says, well, what is truth? And this is kind of the conversation across time between man and God. Men like Pilate think that because they have power, that they have the ability to manipulate truth. They think they control truth. But of course, as Christians, we know that that's a lie. That's an enemy psyop that's being employed in order to activate our pride and make us think that we can be as gods. But, Jesus Christ is the truth, the objective truth that runs through all things, whether it's, the spiritual realm, whether it's literature, art, science, all of it. When you drill right down, Jesus Christ is that unifying objective truth. And when we were Christendom, and I think we're sort of living off the fumes, the remnants of that right now in the West, but when we were Christendom, we understood that much better. Therefore, we could build things like beautiful cathedrals over many generations. We could create great works of art, works of literature that could withstand generations. A constitution in the United States founded on biblical principles that could last 250 years. Those are the fruits of Christendom. And I think the job of those of us who are Christians, who have a voice in the public sphere, is to perpetuate that message, to bring that forward into the future, because I think that's part of, our role in the Great Commission.
Yeah, he's really quite the thinker, and he's got a new book out, if I remember right, Trials, Tribulations, and Truth, and by Leighton Gray, so you may want to check it out. He has his own podcast. It's called Gray Matter.
I like that.
I like the name of that, too. All right, we've got some great talk coming up as normal here at the Dove, and we have Brett will be back with us, Dusing, and as the CEO of True Play, also Rabbi Michael Barclay will be back with us. So we got some good conversation coming down the road here this morning.
A lot of fender benders, you may see this on YouTube and all that, can end with frustration and sometime road rage. But here's one that didn't end with either of those two.
Security cameras in Brazil captured the moment after one driver rear-ended another on a busy street. As both men stepped out of their vehicles, the driver who caused the crash became visibly emotional. Instead of getting angry or demanding answers, the other driver walked over and gave him a hug. The two stood together for a quiet moment before exchanging a few words and dealing with the accident. After the video was shared online, it quickly went viral, with viewers praising the driver's compassion and reminding us all that sometimes the best response isn't anger, it's grace.
So, was he on his phone?
No, I don't know. I have no idea the details. But so often these end up with, people coming out and they're just ready to fight. This one didn't, fortunately.
Well,
amazing how fast it took them to become friends. Can I use that word?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with attitudes. I know every once in a while, if you're on social media or just scanning the dial on newsy things, you'll see these road rage, and they ended up with full-blown fistfights. And
yes, yeah.
Gosh, you just kind of go, are we really that ratched up? I guess we are,
You see some people jumping on the hoods and bashing in the windshield and all this kind of stuff. Well, within seconds, somehow the driver that got hit understood the situation. I give him credit for being able to analyze that for what it was. Okay. None of us like to get bumped from the rear like that.
Yep.
Not a good thing.
No. All right. Well, listen, there's a lot going on out there with the fire. It's here in southern Oregon. Actually, most of it now is in eastern Oregon, central Oregon, I should say. And a lot of homes are being evacuated. Level 3 is being Go Now, which is now being evacuated there in Jefferson County. Structures are being lost. We have over 800,000 acres burning in the state of Oregon as we speak. So be very, very careful and pray for those firefighters and all of the supporting teams that are out there. I take with you today James chapter 1, verse 26. If anyone among you thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue but deceives his own heart, this one's religion is useless.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV.
Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other, 'cause Jesus is the way. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other, 'cause Jesus is the way. Sing along.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Welcome home to the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us.
Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Back at it Monday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Mr. Johnson is here with us today.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, you know, they're always never long enough.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I want to go back to the proposed New American Work Week.
Oh, all right. I've heard you've come up with a few of those in the past.
Yes. So the first one would be you don't show up to work until after lunch on Monday.
As an employer, you like that idea?
Well, I'm just saying what the new work week ought to be. Because this has to do with work performance. I figured it out. You get about a quarter of a day from people on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, full. Thursday, it starts to slack off. You get about a 75% day. And Friday, you're lucky to get 20%.
I'm seeing the graph in my mind here. Yes, the chart.
There you go. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Back at it. Steve's here. We've got a lot going on in the news. Anything special today?
Yeah, well, we celebrated my aunt's 100th birthday this weekend.
Really?
Isn't that amazing?
Aunt Mabel?
No, Carol.
Oh, okay.
Yes, not Mabel, Carol. Yes.
Okay.
I've known her for many years, but she's been around for 100 years. That's an amazing thing. And in good shape and all the rest, and sharp and everything. So Yeah, I would just actually today, I believe, is the actual birthday. We celebrated it on Saturday, the weekend, so other people could enjoy it.
Can you imagine what she has seen in her lifetime?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty amazing stuff, and remembers it all, and it has a perspective. You and I were talking a little bit about that whole idea of how we remember things that seemed like yesterday, and it was quite a while ago. That kind of happens as you get older. So I'm not sure what it's like with her on that, but I think she enjoyed the celebration and the flowers and the cake and all that kind of thing.
Good.
There you go. I'm sorry, you asked me something else. I completely forgot.
Well, that's all right. You're the age where I have to remind you what you just said.
Well, thank you. And I'll do the same for you, too, okay?
No, we were talking about today's specials.
Yes, it is Love is Kind Day.
Yes.
I guess that makes sense. I don't...
Corinthians 13.
I get the idea.
Love is kind, love is patient. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I guess. Okay, you look at it from... yes, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, it's also New Jersey Day, so maybe love somebody from New Jersey and give them some creme brulee.
Ooh.
'Cause that's the day that it is, and you should celebrate that. I also saw this, too. This is interesting. This is the first day that we had some sort of a... in Britannica.com, they give it to you. 1377, it was a day in which we had the first quarantine. That's nothing to celebrate. But can you imagine, you think quarantines are a fairly new thing? No, 1377. The first one happened in Ragusa. It's a republic we now call Dubrovnik. First quarantine in the world to manage the spread of Black Death. It wasn't a good day in Dubrovnik.
Okay.
So anyway, whatever day you're going to have today, it was better than it was back in 1377. So there you go. Perspective is everything, right?
Yeah, perspective is everything. All right, good stuff all the way around. Let's take a look at the weather and see what's happening as we go back to work on this Monday morning.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the low to mid 80s in Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville. Early patchy fog for McMinnville before turning sunny in 82. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions dominate in Salem and Eugene near 84. Albany begins with patchy fog before sunny skies and a high of 83, while Corvallis becomes sunny and 82. Central Oregon sees patchy smoke giving way to sunshine with highs reaching 89 in Prineville, 86 in Bend, and 85 in Sun River. Boise stays smoky, sunny, and hot with a high of 94. Along the Oregon coast, Coos Bay becomes sunny with a high of 70. Decreasing clouds bring highs in Portland to 67 and Brookings 56, while patchy fog in Crescent City turns 65 and mostly sunny. In southern Oregon, sunshine continues across the region with highs of 91 in Grants Pass, 92 in Medford, 88 in Ashland, and 86 in Klamath Falls, with lows tonight dropping into the 50s. Across Northern California, sunny weather continues with highs of 92 in Wairika, 98 and hot in Redding, 95 in Chico and mostly sunny, and 63 in Fort Bragg. Around the Bay Area, patchy fog gives way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs of 89 and 86. San Francisco stays sunny near 74, while San Jose becomes sunny with a high of 83. For Central California, clear and sunny skies persist with highs of 93 in Sacramento, 92 in Stockton and Modesto, and 98 in Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield. That's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
There's a snapshot of our valley this morning. That's looking directly west. You can still see the shadow of the mountain from the sunrise. So a little bit of haze, a little bit of a smoky haze in the valley, but nothing like we've seen. And of course, they're experiencing over there in Central Oregon. But there we go. Nice day.
It is. All right. Have you ever thought of having a rule to your prayer life? I haven't. Johnny Erickson Tata has, though. She says we should pray like we apply an 80-20 rule.
When I deal with pain or cancer or some new problem connected with my disability, of course, I ask people to pray for me. I want the pain to go away. I don't want the cancer to come back. I don't want my disability to get worse. But that physical stuff only covers about maybe 20% of my prayer requests. The other 80% covers things like I need courage. Ask God to grant me patience and endurance. Ask the Lord to show himself more to me, encourage my heart, keep my spirits bright, strengthen my hope, give me a love for his word, deepen my prayer life, and on and on. And I ask God to glorify himself through all of it so that others can see his grace really, really does sustain in a powerful way. Friend, those are big answers to prayer. So if you are battling a physical problem with your health, sure, ask God to do a physical miracle, but I would suggest devoting 80% of your prayer to your spiritual and emotional needs, because God wants to transform your heart and not just your hardships.
Oh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Johnny Action Todd somehow brings the perspective back into focus. All right, good morning to you. 7 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at some of the top stories this morning. And as you know, or perhaps don't know, but over the weekend we have paused for the second day attacks on Iran. That happened yesterday on Sunday. The president said he's done so, and it's an effort to continue to bring the countries back to negotiation on an interim ceasefire deal. We'll see if this happens, but apparently there was no active attacks for the last 2 days in Iran. We know a lot of damage is being done. We just don't know what this Iranian guard's going to do, and all of that seems to be up in the air. So we'll see in the next day or so if whether or not they really want to come back to the negotiating table, and who knows. In the meantime, what did the Prime Minister of Israel have to say, Steve?
Yeah, well, kind of on a slightly different theme, Zoran Mandami, the mayor of New York, said that he didn't want Benjamin Netanyahu to come because he thinks he is a war criminal. And this really last week started a huge row amongst people who said, you don't have the authority to do this. Well, eventually he said, yeah, you're right. I don't have the authority. It's kind of a crazy thing, though. And on Fox News this weekend, the prime minister said, yeah, he's going to come to New York to go to the UN Assembly in September.
What Mamdani is supporting, his wife, his family, he celebrated October 7th massacre, the worst massacre against Jews since the Holocaust. He's basically supporting, he tries to say that he doesn't, but he's supporting the Hamas murderers who raped our women, then beheaded them, burnt babies alive, slaughtered our men, took innocent people hostages, 251 men, women, children, babies. That's who he's supporting. And they're the ones who are responsible for genocide. They would have killed, as their charter says, and as they themselves proclaimed, they would have killed every single Jew in Israel and every Jew in the world. So the genocide charge belongs to our enemies. What we're doing is try to fight this genocidal terrorist organization that embeds itself among civilians, prevents us from moving the civilians out of harm's way. They use gunpoint. That's where the real criminals are. But Mamdani is aligning himself with the criminals, with these murderers. But the worst thing is that he's tormenting his own citizens, his own voters.
I don't know who he thinks he is. I don't think we've ever seen in-your-face raw socialism and radicalism as we're seeing now out of New York. You brought up a little earlier whether or not Mamdani is going to be barred from ground zero on 9/11 recognition. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a petition going of people who don't want him to come because of his comments, saying that there was some reasonable justification for 9/11. I mean, it's ludicrous. Now, it's probably a symbolic petition, but yeah, that has been floated around.
Well, I have to tell you, as blue becomes more blue, red is becoming more red. So people are leaving New York. People are leaving California. Some have left Oregon. We're seeing a migration away from blue states. And where are they going? Well, they're going to a variety of places. Some are going to Idaho from here. Some are going to Nevada. But a big majority of them are going to Texas. The latest IRS polls and indication, I shouldn't say polls, they're actual research shows that the Dallas-Fort Worth area, along with Houston, Austin, and San Antonio, are growing like crazy. In fact, it has amounted to this past year of a $5 billion adjusted gross income to these cities as a result of people leaving other states and moving to Texas. I wonder if the
Well, it'll be interesting because Austin, Austin and San Antonio are kind of seen to be liberal enclaves. So will people from that have red leanings move to those cities and kind of change the city council and all the rest? We'll have to see.
Well, what's interesting about Austin, it is liberal, but the state remains red for the most part. But the capital city's got a problem, and so we'll see what happens. But right now, it looks like Dallas-Fort Worth area is cashing in. I've been there on numerous occasions. I kid you, it's so big. It is so big. The question I always have when I see places like Dallas-Fort Worth, and even your area, Phoenix, that whole Phoenix metro area and all the surrounding little communities, where do you guys get the water from? Where do you guys get water?
That is a concern. Yeah, and California likes to get that Colorado River water for sure because they need it too. So that's been a problem ongoing, and I think as cities grow bigger, it'll be more. I mean, Phoenix is roughly 4 million people in the metro area, and that's huge. When I grew up, it was under 1 million.
Yeah.
So it's grown up a little. I mean, it's gotten huge.
Wow. All right, so what's happening in Germany? Some bad things over there over the weekend.
Yeah, some violence happened over the weekend, and Abdul Belaut is a German citizen who is a Muslim, apparently. He was killed after they were searching for him for about 24 hours after an attack in downtown Berlin. They say that one person died, 29 were injured when he drove a van-type thing into a Berlin Pride party attack, or I should say celebration that was going on there. And it was in a crowd Saturday night before apparently stabbing others with a machete in what authorities believe was an Islamic extremist terror attack. And the interesting thing is the Reuters' Christy Knowles says the 21-year-old Muslim man was known to police in the area.
The shocking part that security sources told us, he had actually been in jail, convicted under Germany's anti-terrorism law for preparing an act of violence. But he was released from youth detention just 2 months ago. This is what security sources told us.
We've seen this before where somebody who's been brought up on charges like terrorism and then are released commit more attacks. I mean, I guess the question is, well, what were you expecting? So we've seen that not only in the United States, but there it is in Germany as well. Well, there's also over the weekend in what is normally a very peaceful thing. It's been going on for decades now. It's a Seattle food festival, and it was a shooting that killed 3 people. They're searching for a second suspect in that area, and they think that it was a fight perhaps between these 2 individuals shooting at each other. And Assistant Police Chief Tyrone Davis had a news conference that he held, and he said they are all working to put the pieces together.
Thankfully, we had officers on the scene that were brave, went to those shots, and prevented more victims from being injured. This is going to be an ongoing investigation. We're going to be out here for several hours trying to figure out exactly what happened tonight. Right now, we believe that we have no outstanding threat to the community. We do have 1 suspect that is being interviewed. We've recovered 2 guns. It's one thing to note, one of the 4 victims that was taken to the hospital was a toddler.
So some were injured and 3 killed. And although he says there's no threat, they still are searching for 1 individual.
Wow. Wow. Okay, well, a little bit on a lighter note, as you know, well, actually it starts with a tough note and ends on a lighter note. Back in April, they had the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner, and it was quickly interrupted by gunfire. And apparently the gentleman that come rushing through the foyer there was taken out by the Secret Service. So they canceled everything. Everybody left the building, everybody took off, and that was the end of that evening. It is an annual event put on by the White House called the Correspondents' Dinner, and so they put it back together, and they had it this past Friday night. This is where the presidents go, and, you know, they're kind of lighthearted. You know, I've seen some in the past. We were talking about the one where the impersonator got up, and he was impersonating George W., and George W. was right next to him.
Yep.
And they went on for about 15, 20 minutes. It was hilarious.
Oh, he was good.
He was really good. Anyway, but after the event in April, the president had a good one-liner this was Friday night, so here's what he had to say.
Everyone's looking really good tonight, and I know it was not easy finding shoes to go along with your bulletproof vest, which many people didn't want to wear because they'd rather die than look 20 pounds heavier. You know that, right? We have that a lot. They put one on me. I said, "Are you sure I'm not wearing this?" No, you look exactly 20. They say, "Sir, it's about 21 pounds." They said, "Not good."
So finding
he
shoes.
can laugh at some of that, yeah.
Finding shoes that match your bulletproof vest. Okay, there we go. That's tough. All right. Anyway, good morning to you. 17 minutes past the hour. Quick break. We'll be right back.
I will sing, I will sing, God be praised, God be praised, all will sing, all will sing.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm Guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV. Seen on cable, satellite TV, and over the air. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV.
All right, welcome back on this Back at It Monday morning. Stephen Perry with you this morning. And, of course, in Oregon, it's just really a critical thing to see happening. But our state is really ablaze, especially in central Oregon on the east side of things. The bench fire exploded overnight, forcing the Warm Springs area there in Jefferson County and surrounding areas to get out of town. The level 3 was go now, and it was really something that jumped the lines and away it goes, and it just adds to the overall problem, what's happening in central Oregon. And we have extreme fire conditions throughout the entire state. Our own backyard fire, the East Evans Creek fire, seems to be settling down. It's 66% contained. But the Central Oregon fires are so numerous and so vast that they have four, we have 4 smaller planes on the tarmac here. They're at the tanker base. And we have 2 large L-10 tankers over on the east side of the airport. All of these airplanes are refueling and being filled with the retardants here and then flying to Central Oregon to deliver their retardant. That's a picture of primarily Oregon and Washington. And if you add all this up, it's over 1.5 million acres burning between the 2 states. A vast majority of that is in Central Oregon. The Aqua Butte fire, which is in Jefferson County, Bench Beach fire. Wow, let's see, the Brewer fire. All of these are around Crook and Jefferson County, Deschutes County. 27,000 acres, 40,000 acres, 51,000 acres. The Roe Creek Complex fire. This takes in, Wheeler County, Wasco County, Jefferson County, Crook County, 208,000 acres. The Hogue Creek Complex fires, plural, 182,000 acres. Fox Fire, 43,000. And so goes the list. We have about 800,000 acres burning in the state of Oregon. Most of those now are over on the east side in central Oregon and east central Oregon. And I don't know what to tell you. I mean, these resources are being spread thin. It's just a horrendous time, so please be careful. We are extreme all around, and be careful and pray for these people. I mean, that firefighting is dangerous work. It's a lot of work. So it looks like the one up in the bench fires, they are losing some structures there. So I don't have an update on how many structures have been lost. I do know that they have a lot of local fire departments will volunteer a truck and a team to do nothing but protect structures. But when you got a wind that pushes these fires and it jumps the line, it's really bad. So be careful out there.
Well, not only in Oregon, but there's some fires that are going on in Spain and in France as well. In fact, just last night, we're told 55,000 people had to be evacuated. Wow. And that brings to 220,000 in just one region in that area. They say the flames are creeping closer to the wine region of Bordeaux. If you have traveled in that area, I'll tell you what, a fire damage looks the same in France as it does in Oregon, to tell you the truth. They say tens of thousands have been evacuated from the Gironde and Landes area in France, and also from near Madrid, the capital city in Spain. So all of this happening with a lot of structures crashing down. You know what's fascinating, Perry, is you see the pictures of the trees around there, and the trees look fine. I mean, for the most part, but the houses and the facilities are just completely obliterated.
It reminds me
of strange how fires goes through.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Alameda fire here in Phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might as well have said that's what some of those areas were from, but no, that's in France and Spain.
Okay, 24 past the hour. Let's take a look at Wall Street for a Monday morning. Thank you, Preston, with Smart Lawn. And he's a good guy and doing a good job. Anyway, the Dow is back up this morning, 455 points. The Nas jumped up 83, and the S&P up a little over 25.5 points. So starting Monday with some big numbers in the green. So we'll see what's going on there. That pushed gold back up over $4,090 an ounce. Silver is pushing $60 an ounce, $59.27, so that's good. And crude oil came down, actually looked like a whole dollar, maybe a little bit more, $90.41. And so we'll see. Good numbers this morning.
I expect to see that effect at the pump today.
Yeah, please do.
The dollar down. That would be nice if we had a dollar less that we paid for gas, except for those people who filled up their tanks last night.
There you go.
Well, the Oregon race is going to be an interesting one here because you have mentioned how current Governor Tina Kotek is kind of, I don't know what you'd say. She has stubbed her toe on a few occasions, politically speaking, and it left the door opening for candidates to come up against her, like Christine Drazen, who was opposed to her in the last election, but it got kind of complicated because it was a three-way race, and that's always kind of a problem right there. Well, Christine Drazen recently was asked, what are her three main issues that she wants to talk about this election?
You know, it's going to be to stop attacking Oregonians' wallets with climate agenda first. We have to get our arms around the cost of energy. Utility prices in our state are going through the roof. And we have got to end the bureaucratic state where it's growing endlessly and it's costing everybody more. So affordability is key. Homelessness has been a black pit. For where we're dumping money right now. And we have to have metrics. We have to have standards. We have to have an expectation people are going to get clean. And if they're facing mental health issues, we've got to get them the help that they need. But people can't choose Oregon as a tourist destination. Those days are over. Do not come here to live on our streets and do drugs. Those days are ending. We are going to ensure that we have good, strong communities and that if people legitimately need help, we're getting it for them. If they're just here to really soak up public funding and live on our streets, they got to go.
Well, yeah, it's as she said earlier, the problem that our current governor has now, she's got a record.
Yeah.
And the record's not a good one. And her record is more taxes and kind of, the last debacle with the gas tax was, or excuse me, well, it ended up being a gas tax, but it was all over ODOT being $350 million short. So recent polls does show Christine ahead. And of course, this is July now, so we got a long ways to go. And so we'll see. But hopefully Oregon's in for a change. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wow.
Well, that'd be huge.
Well, it would be. And, and Steve Hilton down in California is doing pretty well, too. And California's got a lot of problems. In fact, so much so. Can you imagine this? If you can, it's hard.
I'll try, Perry. I'll try. I'm going to give it a try. It's Monday.
Okay, so let me put your brain on tilt.
Okay.
You got Governor Newsom, who was governor of California, one of the largest states in the country. It's billions of dollars. It's been said, I don't know if this is true, it's anywhere from 40 to 60 days at any given moment away from total bankruptcy, insolvency. He's got a record that is just absolutely terrible, but he wants to become president.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last poll shows that he's in last place, and who's in first place? AOC, and he's actually behind Kamala Harris. What did that tell you?
It shows me that the Democrats are a bit confused at this point.
Boy, are
with
they
what
ever.
they want to do. and it also shows, but look at how many socialist/Marxist Democrats have taken over some political seats throughout the United States. I don't know how to make sense of that either, Perry. So I don't know at this point. It's kind of crazy. But if people look at the history, I think you're right. The history should follow them to say, hey, you want to be president? How well were you as governor of fill in the name, California?
So, by the way,
if it was a failure, how can you expect to run the nation?
Are you going to get a Republican governor in Arizona?
I don't know. Andy Biggs, a congressman, he's running. He has had no controversies, seems to be a good guy, talks to both Democrats and Republicans. I don't know. It's so hard to predict these elections now. But he is a viable candidate. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All right. There we go. We'll take a quick break. We will be right back.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America. You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs. Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching. Watch Real Life with Jack Hibbs Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV.
Okay, welcome back. 1:30 on a beautiful Back at It Monday morning. Stephen Perry with you here this morning. And it looks like the United States has withheld a tax on Iran for day 2. What does this mean? Well, let's check in with CBN News and Paul Petit and find out.
After 2 weeks of fighting, President Trump may be hitting pause in the strikes against Iran. But as shown by this image he posted Sunday on Truth Social, Trump is making it clear America's military posture in the Middle East hasn't changed, even as he gives more time for negotiations.
As the president said, we are locked and loaded. Even more assets are going into theater. But he's giving talk some space. He's giving it a little bit of room.
Despite reports of dwindling munition stockpiles, the Trump administration says the U.S. military is poised to attack should diplomacy fail.
We are rebuilding with cheaper, faster, more technologically capable as we are conducting this campaign. And so there should be no doubt that the military has what it's needed and is moving even more assets into the region.
Iran is also pausing strikes, but warning it will expand the war if the U.S. resumes. Israeli officials believe President Trump will eventually be forced to escalate the conflict, arguing Iran is unlikely to make the concessions Washington demands. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu left Jerusalem earlier today to meet with President Trump tomorrow. The Times of Israel is reporting that Netanyahu will present Trump with new evidence showing that Iran is already working to rebuild its nuclear program. The regional chessboard is also shifting. The U.S. says Turkey has yet to meet the conditions required to obtain American F-35 fighter jets. And while Syria's new leadership is now seeking a security agreement with Israel, a fragile 4-year truce between Saudi Arabia and Yemen's Houthi rebels appears to be unraveling. But one of Prime Minister Netanyahu's sharpest battles right now isn't in the Middle East. It's in New York City.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people.
Netanyahu says these words are fueling anti-Semitism.
Look at what he's doing. He's fomenting hate. He's supposed to be the mayor of all New Yorkers, Jews, Christians, Muslims, everyone. But he's trying to turn one group against the other, and he's foisting hate and fear. I speak to Jewish Americans in New York, and they're afraid right now. And I don't think it's accidental.
Netanyahu says he plans to visit New York in the future, despite past arrest threats from Mamdani. But the prime minister is more concerned for the safety of others, especially at a time of surging anti-Semitism.
And I think that's part of this incitement language that is sweeping a lot of circles with anti-Semitism, a lot of circles in the West, in the United States, and unbelievably, in New York City, which has the second largest Jewish population in the world after Israel. And I think it's wrong. The whole thing is wrong.
And Paul Petit is with us now from Jerusalem. Paul, in his interview on Fox News, what else did Prime Minister Netanyahu say about Mamdani in this new war of words?
Well, good morning, Lori. Netanyahu made it clear he has no intention of changing his plans to visit Israel, despite Mamdani's ongoing threats. In fact, he said he fully expects to come to New York for the UN General Assembly, which happens in September. Well, the prime minister accused Mamdani of relying on what he called the International Criminal Court's bogus war crimes charges, noting that the former ICC chief himself, the chief prosecutor, is now facing legal troubles after he threatened to arrest Mamdani, the New York mayor. He admitted last week that he has no authority to do so. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, told the UN last week that it's Mamdani who needs to be arrested. In fact, the ambassador will be live today on the 700 Club to offer his take of this war of words as well. Lori?
So Iran is threatening to expand the war if the U.S. resumes strikes. What could this look like, Paul? And does Israel believe President Trump will be forced to strike Iran again?
Yes, a slippery slope. Iran is warning that any new American strikes would no longer be met with what they call a, quote, limited response. Tehran is threatening a much wider regional conflict, targeting U.S. forces, allied countries, and energy infrastructure across the Middle East. Now, what could that all include? Well, that means attacks by Iranian proxies in Iraq, possibly Syria, Yemen, missile or drone strikes against Gulf states, or attempts to disrupt shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. So the thinking here in Jerusalem is that if Iran restarts high-level enrichment moves, hidden nuclear assets, or launches major new attacks, well, the White House could conclude that additional military action is, in fact, unavoidable.
So even though the U.S. has paused strikes on Iran, other countries have not. What's the latest there in the Middle East on this?
Yeah, other countries have jumped in. Iran is now claiming that several neighboring countries have taken part in strikes against targets inside Iran, though those claims have not been publicly verified. But if true, it would show this conflict is no longer just about Israel and the U.S. It would mean more regional powers are, in fact, becoming directly involved. Now, that's important here, Lori, because many of those countries have been quietly cooperating with Israel and the U.S. for years on air defense, intelligence sharing, and countering Iranian influence. It also sends a message to Tehran that its strategy of isolating Israel is actually having the opposite effect here, with more countries viewing Iran as the primary source of regional instability. And that is a very slippery slope.
Well, there you go. It's the Middle East. Give it 20 minutes. We'll have another report for you. That's about how it goes.
Yep.
All right, let's check out the weather as we're back at it on a Monday.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the low to mid 80s in Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville. Early patchy fog for McMinnville before turning sunny in 82. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions dominate in Salem and Eugene near 84. Albany begins with patchy fog before sunny skies and a high of 83, while Corvallis becomes sunny and 82. Central Oregon sees patchy smoke giving way to sunshine with highs reaching 89 in Prineville, 86 in Bend, and 85 in Sun River. Boise stays smoky, sunny, and hot with a high of 94. Along the Oregon coast, Coos Bay becomes sunny with a high of 70. Decreasing clouds bring highs in Portland to 67 and Brookings 56, while patchy fog in Crescent City turns 65 and mostly sunny. In southern Oregon, sunshine continues across the region with highs of 91 in Grants Pass, 92 in Medford, 88 in Ashland, and 86 in Klamath Falls, with lows tonight dropping into the 50s. Across Northern California, sunny weather continues with highs of 92 in Wairika, 98 and hot in Redding, 95 in Chico and mostly sunny, and 63 in Fort Bragg. Around the Bay Area, patchy fog gives way to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs of 89 and 86. San Francisco stays sunny near 74, while San Jose becomes sunny with a high of 83. For Central California, clear and sunny skies persist with highs of 93 in Sacramento, 92 in Stockton and Modesto, and 98 in Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield. That's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Well, you know, it doesn't quite seem that long ago that we had a rather historic date. I mean, when do you see the Queen of England acting in a movie? Probably not too often. Well, a royal opening of the 30th Olympic Games happened on this date in history.
On this day in 2012, Queen Elizabeth II officially opened the London Olympic Games with little help from James Bond. The world was expecting the usual royal ceremony. Instead, a short film appeared on giant screens showing actor Daniel Craig as 007 arriving at Buckingham Palace to escort the Queen to the opening ceremony. After a quick trip through the palace, Bond's Majesty boarded a helicopter and flew over London toward the Olympic Stadium. Then came the moment that stunned millions watching around the world. Two figures, the Queen herself and then Bond, appeared to parachute from the helicopter into the stadium. Moments later, Queen Elizabeth walked into the arena to thunderous applause and officially opened the 30th Olympic Games. It was a rare glimpse of the monarch's sense of humor and one unforgettable entrance fit for a queen and for 007.
Can you imagine the Queen jumping out of an airplane?
I remember when that happened. I saw it. It must be real. It was on TV.
Oh, of course. They filmed that in the same garage they did the moon landing with.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. There you go. Oh, well, listen, Dr. Anthony George, he took the place of, well, the late Charles Stanley. In fact, yesterday's sermon, he talked about what it would be like to be Joshua following Moses. He kind of he kind of felt like that when he took.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
Anyway, he preached a wild sermon yesterday about challenging people in your life, people that you have in your life that are challenges. Well, recently he spoke about. Now, let me kind of frame this a little bit. He can get into the subject of the day. You wouldn't expect this from a guy like him, but he can get into the subject of a day. I mean, some of the headlines he just jumps in and goes for it. And such is the case with this notion that we stole all the land from the Indians, okay? So I don't know how in the world this come up in a sermon, but it did, and here's his take on it.
The truth is, I've never heard anybody who said they were on stolen land give the deed to their house back to an Indian tribe. I've never seen it happen. So if you're so hung up on the stolen land, why don't you start giving it back? Well, the problem is your house might be on top of some of that. So you see, and there are people, and yes, I get it. You're free to go, free to go. The point I'm making is simply this. Stop burdening the rest of us with meaningless diatribe when all of that is an agenda to topple the good that God has done. And where is all of this headed? Forget what I said about the presidential center. Forget about America being on. The end game is not just convincing America that we're on stolen ground. The end game from the spiritual warfare perspective is convincing the world that Israel is on stolen ground. That's where this is all headed. And see, this is what is so sad to me. You have people who are so bound up in their culture that they refuse to let the Word of God shatter the stronghold of deception. That's what bothers me. You cannot make a God out of your culture. I'm telling you, what I'm preaching today, I didn't learn because I'm following somebody on social media. Let me tell you who I follow. It's a man I met when I was 16 years old. He is Jesus. And let me tell you something else. He was a Jew. He was a Jew. God gave us this Bible through His Jewish people. He gave us His Son through the Jewish people. And one day, because those people have been regathered, not perfect, flawed, committing many injustices, which must be called out, but God has reassembled them nonetheless, because it is when they are reassembled that we know the time is soon for Christ to return. That's what we're talking about.
Well, he got fired up, and I've seen him do this on several occasions with various issues, and quite the communicator. So I think what happened in there is a couple of people got up and walked out.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he was putting it on the line right there.
That's pretty startling. All right. Well, anyway, and people get upset when you and I get on a subject.
Only because they say, why don't you just move on?
Why just move on? We're going to do that. We're going to move on. We're going to grab some ice cream. We'll be right back.
Everything comes alive. Everything comes alive. Everything comes alive.
Hi, I'm Paulina Leiser, producer and host of The Ancient Church. Join me Sunday evenings as we explore Orthodox Christianity, its history, theology, worship, and living traditions.
The Ancient Church, Sundays at 6 p.m. on the Dove TV. Jerry's Historical Archives. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. Relive the past and learn something new. Open up Jerry's Historical Archives, weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
The Life Essentials Interactive Study Bible by Dr. Gene Getz. The first ever multimedia study Bible with QR codes enabling you to view 1,500 videos. Watch on your smartphone, tablet, or computer with Gene Getz teaching Principles to Live By from every book of Scripture. 250 hours of in-depth teaching. Gene Getz has over 60 years of Bible teaching and is a renowned theologian. The Life Essentials Bible is a seminary in a box. Read, watch, apply. Get yours today for your own spiritual growth or as a gift that will minister greatly to your family and friends. Purchase your copy of the Life Essentials Study Bible at Christian bookstores or go to their website, BiblePrinciples.org, and click on Video Search, where you can access all the principles for free. Take your faith deeper. Get your Life Essentials Study Bible today at Christian bookstores or BiblePrinciples.org.
Okay, welcome back on this Back at It Monday morning, about 12 minutes before the top of the hour. You know, Steve, just down here at the South Interchange of Medford, we have this beautiful little place called Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you were still here when we got the headlines that all the Cracker Barrels in Oregon shut down.
Well, they had the $700 million nationwide overhaul at 666 Cracker Barrels. Remember, they tried to change the sign and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Well, now, and I was wondering if there wouldn't be some effect on this. You lose $700 million because of a misguided refit. Julie Massino, the CEO, is stepping down as a result. It's taken this long, but she's going to be gone. And they realize, you know what, Cracker Barrel has to stay the way it is. I would give them one suggestion, though. They don't make omelets. I don't get it. I want a good Denver omelet when I go to Cracker Barrel. They don't have them. That would not cost $700 million, Perry. I can assure you that, to add that to the list. So there's my way to make Cracker Barrel better. But right now, yeah, you mess up, you may lose your job, even at Cracker Barrel.
Well, it was all over the logo, I guess. It was kind of...
But I think there was some retrofitting that went inside the stores, too. It made it a little less Cracker Barrel-ish.
No, that's
a word.
You know, the first time I went to a Cracker Barrel was across from Opryland in Nashville. And it was in a meeting, and we ran over there to have lunch. And immediately you understood what it was about. It was a southern, good old country kitchen thing. Go and sit down, and you had the smells and everything. And then they opened this one here in Medford, and it had the feeling of a chain restaurant instead of a hometown restaurant, you know. But anyway, so maybe the new leadership will come in, and it's kind of like when Coke made the mistake.
Yes. You know, it comes back to the whole thing. You can save a lot of money if you take the adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, there you go. That is so true. Well, the other day I had Leighton Gray back on the studio, or back on the show with me in Focus Today. He's quite a guy. He wrote a book called Trials, Tribulation, and Truth. He's an attorney, Christian attorney. He's really well recognized and respected in Canada. And I asked him, what are you trying to communicate with this new book? And here's what he had to say.
Well, I'll refer to an example of one of the essays in the book is called Poisonous Roots. And here I tried to take a look at and pinpoint what is the origin of transgender ideology? Why is it so seductive and why is it so harmful to human beings? And what I found when I looked into it is it goes down to people like John Money and the Kinsey Institute, who really gave birth to all of these terms like gender identity and transgenderism, cisgender. All these terms come out of the quote unquote sexual revolution of the 1960s. And what I found is that there's an essential connection between transgenderism, pedophilia, and also something called autogynephilia, which is where you get eroticized by pretending or by the fantasy that you are a member of the opposite sex. And what we see fundamentally is that transgenderism is an ideology of alienation. It's really one of the greatest ideas that Satan ever had, because it alienates you from your own body. It alienates you from your family. It alienates you from other members of your gender. Usually it alienates you from other members of your community. And most importantly and vitally, it alienates you from God. Someone who thinks that they're transgender is so delusional, Perry, that what they say to an all-powerful, perfect, omniscient God is that, oh no, God, when you made me, you made a mistake. But I'm going to fix me. I'm going to fix me by taking horrible drugs that are going to transform my body forever. I'm going to fix me by going to a surgeon who's going to lop off body parts that are going to make me into something unimaginable in your eyes. That are going to distort my true identity that you gave to me. And what we see is this always descends down into misery. 86% of people who identify as transgender, Perry, have suicidal ideation, and at least nearly half of them actually make a serious attempt at suicide. So if that isn't proof of how destructive that ideology is, I don't know. And then, of course, you get into all the ramifications of trying to compel the speech of others so that I have to refer to someone else by their chosen pronouns. Now they're compelling my speech. They're causing me, forcing me through the legal force of the state to adopt their delusion and make it my own, even though I know that it's a lie.
Yeah.
It's truly, truly awful and so dangerous and so divisive for our society.
Yeah, this is it's a big topic. I realize that even in the recent argument before the Supreme Court about boys playing in girls' sports, the term trans was immediately taken off the table and replaced with boys. And that was a huge deal because words mean things. And I had a conversation with one about a week ago, a person that tried to do the transition and regretted it. And I'm talking. We're in a commercial setting.
Okay.
And I didn't say anything. I just, how you doing? Well, I'm struggling. What's your problem? I was this, and I did this, and all of a sudden this person just breaks out and starts crying.
Oh wow.
You know.
That transparent of it all.
Well,
wow.
But where is it in the surface level? Is that close to the surface that just a little question, how you doing? Poof, it comes out. You know.
Apparently.
Yeah, it's really a lot to deal with. All right, got some great guests coming up. Stick around. We're going to have some good conversation with some special guests. Brent Dusing will be with us, and Rabbi Michael Barclay will be back with us. So stick around. I got some good conversation.
You know, sometimes, especially if you peruse YouTube, you'll see car accidents and road rage that happens after it all. Well, here is one that did not end with road rage. In fact, quite the opposite.
Security cameras in Brazil captured the moment after one driver rear-ended another on a busy street. As both men stepped out of their vehicles, the driver who caused the crash became visibly emotional. Instead of getting angry or demanding answers, the other driver walked over and gave him a hug. The two stood together for a quiet moment before exchanging a few words and dealing with the accident. After the video was shared online, it quickly went viral, with viewers praising the driver's compassion and reminding us all that sometimes the best response isn't anger, it's grace.
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful?
That's quite an opposite reaction than most people have, that's for sure.
Oh, boy. Road rage being what it is. All right. Good morning to you. James, the book of James, chapter 1, verse 26. If anyone among you thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue but deceives his own heart, this one's religion is useless.
Wow.
So here's the deal. Say something nice to somebody today. In fact, say something nice to a person you don't like.
Especially if you're in an accident.
There you go. There's a picture of our backyard, high and dry. Be careful out there, folks.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Once again, our very own Dove TV was recognized for excellence by the National Religious Broadcasters with the prestigious Station of the Year Award for 2026.
And this year's recipient of TV Station of the Year Award is Dove TV.
This makes 9 times the Dove has been honored by our peers with this celebrated national award. We're grateful, and another reason to stay encouraged and informed by watching and supporting the Dove TV. Tackling the tough issues facing America and our nation's freedom. That's Sekolo on the Dove TV.
DAs around the country finding who they want to prosecute and then determining what crime they could charge them with.
You can't believe this is the country we're living in, that this is happening.
A bold half hour hosted by ACLJ's Jordan and Logan Sekolo, taking you inside the battle of constitutional and political freedom, discussing issues that matter to you and your family.
This is just not the right precedent we want to be setting, even if we don't like Donald Trump.
This is just all-out chaos, and that's what could happen very soon.
Watch Sekolo for issues that matter to you, addressing the problems of Christian rights in the workplace, school, the marketplace, and protecting human life.
I hope this doesn't have to go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Be in the know with Sekolo. Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday only on the Dove TV. Alex McFarland Ministries, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. And, of course, we're all concerned about the digital world and our children being there and what are they getting, perceiving. And it's a whole new day in trying to police all of this. I'm really honored to have back with us today Brett Dusing. He's the CEO and the founder of TruePlay, a platform creating safe, faith-based digital content for children. He's a seasoned tech entrepreneur, previously founded what they call the Cellfire, which was acquired for about $100 million. Brent now is the spokesperson for online safety. And you can go to trueplaygames.com is the website, trueplaygames.com. And there's a picture of that landing page. Brent, good to see you again. How are you, friend?
Doing great. Good to see you, Perry.
Thank you for your time. Boy, a lot going on. Hey, what is Faith First Alliance?
Faith First Alliance is a combination of a lot of organizations who are Christians who are concerned about the harms that AI and big tech have been pushing against Christian groups. It includes TruePlay, it includes AMAC, the the Association of Mature American Citizens, which has over 2 million members. It includes Promise Keepers, it includes Patriot Mobile, it includes some friends, Gary Bauer, Lance Wallnell's ministry, Will Graham at BGEA, and most of our organizations have experienced some level of discrimination by big tech because we're Christian. Overtly, we've experienced discrimination because of what we believe and what we stand for. And so what this alliance is about putting in guardrails so that AI can't be used to discriminate against the Christian worldview as we move forward.
How in the world does that work?
Well, think about this. We have, for example, at TruePlay experienced discrimination by TikTok and Google. So we are not allowed to run ads on TikTok or Google because we're Christian. Google has banned us for over a year and a half. TikTok has previously banned us for over a year. We couldn't run ads saying things like fun biblical games for kids, fun faith-based places for your kids to play, turn game time into God time. Both of those organizations banned all of those ads. Meanwhile, both TikTok and Google have allowed ads with pentagrams drawn in blood. Google had Roblox run ads with satanic imagery, a game called Diablo, which of course, satanic imagery and content, which is a religion. Google allows Buddhist products and content to advertise without restraint. And Google actually allowed, there was a game called Inside Roblox where people could recreate school shootings, the Uvalde school shootings and the Columbine school shootings. They would play as a shooter, and then they'd pray to the devil inside a pentagram. This was a game inside Roblox that was allowed. Google approved this for release on their platform. And in fact, they're under investigation by the Texas State Legislature for doing this, for essentially glorifying a school shooting. So Google's morality is to allow dark, evil content to push on kids. By the way, LGBT content for small children, Buddhist content, but they won't allow Christians to advertise. We've experienced this problem. Other groups have experienced this problem. AMAC has had many ads banned by different ad platforms. So has Lance Wallnell's organization. So have many others. We've seen this happen repeatedly. And the reason this happens, Perry, is because of AI. See, every AI model has a morality programmed into it, right? If you ask an AI model certain questions, this has been kind of very well covered. If you say, should I commit suicide? It'll try to send you to a help hotline, right? It won't encourage you to do so. If you ask them if you should join the Nazi party, it will tell you that you shouldn't, because these machines have been given moral and programmatic guide rails. It's the same reason you can't use an AI machine to try to, a normal model at least, to try to hack into somebody's bank account, right? So those models are given moral frames and guidelines. What we're saying is it's very obvious that Google's and TikTok's models have been built to discriminate overtly against Christianity, to view Christianity as dangerous and harmful. They do this under the guise of, you can't promote a religious worldview, but yet they allow Satanism, Buddhism, and trans for kids, which is a religion, to be pushed and promoted.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. These are companies. They're publicly owned companies or companies privately owned, whatever the case. At the end of the day, they can exercise who they want to do business with. But is there anything in legislature that can be done about this?
Well, they can and they can't decide who they do business with, right? They can say you can't promote religious ideology, but yet if that's what they're doing, then they can't then promote Satanism and Buddhism, which are religions. They can't, in the same way there's, civil rights laws, as you know. So you can't, for example, refuse to serve a customer based on their race. That was legislation well established back in the 60s. So there are limits and guide rails to how you can operate your business. That's why, for example, there's civil rights legislation. What legislation can be done? So what we're asking for is for legislation to be produced that you can't use AI to discriminate against a great worldview, and that secondly, that every AI model that's used at large scale needs to be based on U.S. constitutional principles, right? So instead of having AI models that are based on far leftist values, which is what's been well documented with many of these models, including Google's Gemini, these models need to be based on the U.S. Constitution, right? The U.S. Constitution, which is freedom of religion, freedom of speech, respect. The U.S. Constitution has baked in a belief in a creator, right? All of those things are that are baked into the Constitution, and we just celebrated America's 250th anniversary this month, right? What's made our country great? It's our values, right? The values that are encapsulated in our Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, in our Declaration of Independence, and frankly, that have been attempted to be lived out for the last 250 years. If we're going to be using AI models to make large decisions for people at scale, decisions like what resources are received, what businesses are allowed to do what, who's allowed to speak publicly, who's allowed to receive electronic funds. If AI models are making those decisions, then which are going to affect hundreds of millions of people in this country, probably affect every U.S. citizen, then of course they need to abide by the U.S. Constitution, not on far leftist values, which is where many of these models are based on today.
Is any of this enforceable, Brent? I mean, you and I have watched these hearings, and even Zuckerberg get up and admit some things, but is any of this enforceable?
Well, I think so. I mean, there have been quite a few legal cases lately. There have been some legal cases that have been won against Meta very recently. There was a famous case, I believe it was in California, where some people sued Meta for some harm that had been done to them because of social media and the effects that it had on young people and decisions that they made accordingly, because I think the idea was that the program was intentionally designed to cause a certain outcome and manipulated people. So these are enforceable when you consider how many civil rights cases there have been, right, where you can't, for example, discriminate against somebody based on their race. So we're facing the same situation where, as an operating business, you don't like the fact that we're Christian and you're essentially blocking us. And Google has a near monopoly on ads. Google, Meta are the two of the very, very biggest and take a predominant majority of ad inventory out there. And so when you get blocked by those organizations, they're essentially causing business harm, and they're doing that against a pre-established set of legislation, which is in the Civil Rights Act.
Interesting. We were the first broadcast network to get canceled during COVID from YouTube, and they decided they were the arbiters of truth about COVID. And the reason I bring this up is because their own editorial whatever I was interviewing somebody that had an alternative view to what they liked, and they said that we were giving disinformation or misinformation, so they canceled us and took 15,000 of our videos with them. And I'm looking over here, and you bring Christianity into the argument with Google and Meta, and you kind of go, if they're anti-Christian, aren't they making a statement that their definition of truth is what's real, and canceling us, we're not real? And to your point, that's damaging. It's damaging in many, many ways. But how in the world do you bring judgment against it?
Well, a few ways. You get legislation passed, and you have lawsuits, and you have real harm and fines that happen. And you have CEOs of these companies have to come and explain and account for the fact, what they've done. I mean, look at what happened in tobacco lawsuits, right? This is a really good example, right? You had, for a long time, people knew intuitively that smoking was bad for people. And they also knew that tobacco companies knew it, were promoting their products anyway, and also were promoting the products to children. And eventually, it took whistleblowers, it took lawsuits, it took legislation being enacted, but eventually those tobacco companies got sued for a lot of money. Those CEOs had to come testify in front of Congress very famously. They kind of got fools of because they were kind of denying what was obvious. They were ignoring the elephants in the room. But those things are all an established process that's happened before when businesses went too far, when businesses were intentionally harming and causing damage to people, and there's a precedent for those kinds of things.
Now, back to the legislation a little bit. From what I understand, as interesting as all this is, it's starting to get bipartisan support, so that it looks like there's some hope here.
I think so. There's a level at which what we're talking about is really about human beings versus people abusing technology to oppress people. I mean, that's if AI goes too far. You've already heard people talk about things like universal basic income. That's essentially servitude, right? That's essentially saying, okay, AI machines are going to actually work and produce money, and then we'll just send checks, to individuals as we see fit. So what happens when the machine decides to stop sending checks or reduce the check amounts, or even worse than that? I mean, it's essentially a form of economic slavery, right? This country was founded based on independence, and almost every human society has been based on the ability for people to work. God gave Adam responsibilities in the Garden of Eden before the fall. So work's not a punishment, right? Work is just part of what humans were built to do. If you've ever met people who are in their prime working age and are, chronically unemployed, it's immensely devastating to those people. And so the idea that you're going to take away somebody's purpose, somebody's ability to be productive, is an incredibly devastating thing. And so I bring all that up because I think that this has become more of an issue than just left versus right. I think this has become an issue of human beings versus people who have a lot of loathing for humanity, people who want to use machines to oppress people. And that's what we're seeing happening right now with the issues we face with Google against Christianity and what TikTok has done to us as well.
There was a move at one time to abolish TikTok. Has that gone away?
What happened was there was a movement. Ultimately, TikTok got sold to a group of investors and got sold away from a company that owned it that was heavily influenced by the Chinese government. Now, how much that has kind of changed and affected the way they do business, or the effects, more importantly, the way it affects other people, it affects young children, which I think is really the issue, is still a real concern for a lot of people.
Yeah. I'm going to take a break. I want to come back. I want to talk about how the Alliance is supporting Stronger Children online safety. I think it was probably one of the big issues. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out Brent's website, and that's trueplaygames.com. There's a picture of that landing page, trueplaygames.com. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America.
That liberty is God-given, not government-granted.
You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs.
You and I cannot afford to be casual about what God has actually said in His Word regarding the future.
Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching.
The Bible warns us to avoid private interpretations.
Jack challenges today's generation to understand and practice a biblical worldview, verse by verse, addressing key cultural and daily life issues. Deepen your walk with Christ to make an effective impact on your world. Don't miss Real Life with Jack Hibbs, Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV.
Most people have no idea what their money is funding.
That's why it's so important to know who you're investing in and what they stand for. At Financial Issues, we help Christians invest with biblical values. Our daily live broadcast covers the economy, markets, and even politics through a financial lens grounded in a biblical worldview. Watch Financial Issues daily at 5 p.m. Pacific Time right here on the Dove.
Well, welcome back. And if you're a parent with a young person today and they have a phone in their hand, you're probably concerned about what's happening with all the digital and online capabilities and what your children are being exposed to. I'm so honored to have back with us today Brent Dusing. He's the CEO, excuse me, and the founder of TruePlay, a platform creating safe, faith-based digital content for children. Also bringing into focus the Faith First Alliance, and the website for all this is trueplaygames.com. Brent, the Alliance is also supporting stronger children online safety legislation. How's it going?
Well, right now the legislation is being considered in Congress. I would say from our standpoint, we're supportive of anything that protects kids. Mm-hmm. You know, right now, I'll give you some stats that are pretty alarming. Anxiety, suicide, and depression rates are all-time highs for children. The average male is exposed to pornography when he's about 11 years old. Only 31% of children in America believe in God without a doubt. There's a lot of issues that kids are getting involved in. You know, Roblox. Roblox is a gaming platform that over 100 million kids use every day. Roblox has had over 15 years of stories of children being preyed upon, of child pornography on the site, of even child abductions. In fact, just recently, just earlier this year, a kid from Stony Brook named Thomas Medlin was 15 years old. He was playing Roblox. It was the last thing he did, walked out of his house. He was found dead a few weeks later in New York City in a river. By the way, New York City is about 2 hours away from his house. So there's a lot of awful stuff going on with kids. There's a lot of people like Roblox and TikTok and Google who really aren't doing enough to stop it, who are actually exacerbating the problem. And so we support anything that protects children. We support anything that helps children not only be safe, but helps their parents be aware of what's happening and help their parents put in guardrails. And also, that's why we show up to work at TruePlay. At TruePlay, we've built an interactive gaming platform with over 100 hours of content, awesome video games, video content, digital comics. In fact, we have music coming out with Kim Walker-Smith just this Friday that we're super excited about. World-class music, world-class videos. And this is all content that's built to teach children that, you know what, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Mm-hmm. You're a child of God. You're special. You're unique. You have a purpose. You have a value. And rather than steering them into toxic messages about sexuality and self-harm and drug use and even things like pride, what we're trying to teach kids about, which we are about faith and courage and hope and the reality of Jesus Christ and the truth of the Bible. And those are the reasons that we show up to work at TruePlay. And I would say for all of our Alliance members that I'm speaking for, all of them are showing up to work every day for the betterment of humanity and for children and for the truth of God to be shown in our country and in the world.
That's wonderful. Again, trueplaygames.com is the website. Brent, given your understanding you gave us about Google and Meta obviously censoring Christian content, is AI anti-Christian?
So it can be. It has been. The large models have been. So when we talk about AI or any technology, I think we have to separate the medium from the message. It would be like, I sometimes get a question running TruePlay. Well, why do you have kids play video games? You know, there's so many bad video games. Sure. There's bad books too. If you came home today and your child was reading a pornographic book, would you throw away and burn all your books? No, of course you wouldn't. You'd get rid of that book and other books like it, but you'd keep, other books that you felt really strongly about that had positive values, the Bible, the classic books, maybe other books like that. So the point is it's really about what the message is inside the medium. AI is a technology, right? AI is actually an umbrella term to mean a lot of different technologies, a lot of approaches that have been used to accelerate the development of a lot of things, some of which are incredibly useful. The problem is that when we see Google especially using AI, using their algorithms, using the models that they've built, it's been used to discriminate against Christians. Very recently, we even did a search on OpenAI, for example, where we were asking OpenAI, which is, of course, run by we're asking ChatGPT, run by OpenAI, a query. We were saying, give us some biblical verses on parenting, and it wouldn't give it to us. When we asked to give us verses from the Quran on parenting, it gave us a bunch of them. So I think that it's very obvious in the case, and ChatGPT has been well documented to have an anti-Christian bias, as well as Google. There's a lot of good research that's come out about that by the Gospel Coalition. I'm sure there's more to come. So the point is, AI is being used to discriminate against Christianity, just as search engines were used to discriminate against Christianity, just as your experience, Perry, on YouTube, right? With, YouTube is essentially a form of television. Well, that was used to discriminate against Christianity. So the question really is, who are the people using it and what are their motives? What actions are they taking? Those are the questions we need to be concerned about and put in guardrails so that we don't wind up in a situation where AI becomes even more powerful about deciding who can speak publicly and what resources are received, that it winds up destroying the very fabric of our society by trying to eradicate Christianity, by silencing churches, by not allowing pastors to speak, by not allowing political leaders who have a Christian worldview to voice their perspective, by not allowing funds to be received. Those are the real dangers that are actually absolutely at play.
You got a big job here, Brent, and I commend you for what you're doing. This is amazing. If you look at AI's potential, there's good and bad to it, but AI now becoming more influential just in education. How do we guard information that AI would put into the school system? And I know that's a big question, but it seems to be so open and so misused. We have an AI Jesus out there. We have AI lovers out there. And these kids flirt around with all this stuff. But if it gets into education and twists what true education is all about, now what do we do?
Well, I think it's like anything. If you're going to allow books in school, somebody's got to be able to review what the books are and what they say. So we had an issue 4 or 5 years ago where there were a lot of pornographic books being thrust into libraries of elementary school children. And a lot of courageous parents stood up against it, including a friend of mine, John Amachukwu, and quite a few others, right? Saying, hey, this is obscene. Frankly, this is sexually predatory, and we're not going to put up with it. In the same way, as children are using AI models, I think it's wise for educators to say, okay, let's go and look at what these AI models are. Let's go see what it is that, as we ask, basic queries or queries about different historical topics or events that happened. Let's see what that model comes back with. Let's see what that model is producing as truth. And those are real questions that educators have to be able to say, hey, this is approved and this isn't, right? This is okay and this is not. No differently than you would do that with any school textbook, right? If you read a school textbook that said that the United States was founded in 1952, you get rid of the textbook because that'd be a false statement, right? It's really not any different than that.
What advice do you have for parents that are really concerned? I mean, how much control can you really put on this stuff as a parent? What's your advice for parents?
Yeah, I'd say this to parents. I'd say this to grandparents as well, because I know we have a lot of grandparents out there who care about their children's future. And one of our partners in this Faith First Alliance is AMAC. I would say that, one, I would really discourage you getting your kids onto social media until they're 18. There's so much evidence that anxiety, suicide, and depression rates, the reason why they're at all-time highs is because of the advent of social media on smartphones. There's this famous study in the UK that if you give a girl over 4 hours of social media a day, 40% of them are clinically depressed. So it's just not good. They're not ready for it. Secondly, I think keeping devices in public places. I think parents often make a mistake by letting devices go into rooms. That's when you often get issues into pornography or dark content. I think talking to your children, this is basic stuff, but talking to your kids or your grandkids, engaging with them, and talking to them about what you know to be true, right? Sharing your beliefs, your faith, your values. are really important things that, and also speak to them about discernment. Tell your children from a young age, hey, some people are going to lie to you. Some people are going to try to manipulate you, and they may come off as sophisticated or wealthy or really intelligent, but they may have a hidden agenda. And that's something that I think all kids really need to hear to be prepared for the road ahead.
Absolutely amazing. What can people do to help you and support what you're doing?
Well, if you want to get involved in what we're doing with the Faith First Alliance, you have a few options. One, you can please check out TruePlay at truplay.com. It's an amazing entertainment platform built for families and children. In fact, if you have grandkids, you can take advantage of that as well. You can also go to AMAC. AMAC has we have a political action committee that we're really taking action with in legislative bodies in Congress. You can make a contribution to that on AMAC's website. If you go to amac.org, you can find that. Write your congressman. Get involved. Say, look, we are concerned about AI destroying the fabric of our society. AI, this is really a really interesting point. I'll tell you, Perry, for your listeners. This is the first time in history we've had CEOs of AI companies, including Sam Altman at ChatGPT and Dario Amodei who runs Anthropic, produces product Claude, that have said there's a real possibility that this product we're producing will destroy society, will destroy humanity. That's never been said before. There have been people who've pointed at someone else's product and said, that guy's product's going to kill you. We've never had somebody say, the product I'm selling you is likely to destroy you. And the response of our society has been to race and lean in as fast as they can. So it's almost like there's a drink that could increase your muscle mass by 1% a day every time you drink it. But by the way, it increases your chance of mortality by 50% every time you drink it. Let's drink as much of the drink as you can. That's essentially this this almost Faustian bargain that we're facing. And so I think if you're listening, if you're a citizen, if you're an American, especially if you're a Christian, you need to get involved because this is important. These people are publicly telling you there's real harms and dangers. We've experienced real harms and dangers. AMAC has experienced real harms and dangers, as have other Christian organizations that you know of and support. And many that small groups that you've never even heard of that have all faced this discrimination issue that will only continue to get worse unless something is done and stopped. So make a contribution to AMAC, reach out to your congressman or senator, write a letter, get involved, vote if you know them, talk to them. And if you want to have something fun to do with your family and your children and grow their faith and make sure they have an amazing time, check out TruePlay.
Okay, trueplaygames.com or amac.org. A couple of places you can go, get involved, and participate, and certainly express your concerns. Thank you, Brent, for being a frontline warrior on this. It's just so amazing. I don't know how I don't know how you sleep at night knowing what you know.
It's good to be with you, Perry. Thanks for the time.
All right, God bless you.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV. Do events in the world leave you confused and scratching your head? A world where up is down and down is up.
I'm Perry Atkinson. Mornings on the Dove knows how you feel. We're here to offer God's hope and encouragement and to help you to sort it all out.
And I'm Jerry Bilden.
Mornings on the Dove alerts you to issues and events the mainstream media would rather you not know or know the truth.
A lot in the news today, some movement around in the Middle East, common sense discussions on today's headlines, and rational perspective on what's really going on.
That will leave you better informed and encouraged by the gospel.
In this upside-down world, there's one place you can trust to get it straight.
Check into Mornings on the Dove each day to find out what's really going on and to be encouraged.
Mornings on the Dove, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on the Dove TV and radio. Streaming online at thedove.us, Roku, and Apple TV. The Dove, encouraging and informative.
Well, welcome back. And of course, we're constantly monitoring what's happening in the Middle East. It's amazing how the Middle East has become the middle of the world, so to speak. And I'm really honored to have back with us today Rabbi Michael Barclay is back with us, who's the spiritual leader there at the temple in California. He's also nationally published Torah commentator for the Jewish Journal and the author of Sacred Relationships, Biblical Wisdom for Deepening Our Lives Together. He's also the host of the CRN radio show and podcast Rabbi's Table, Dialogue, Not Debate, where faith, politics, culture, and global headlines meet in an open conversation. Now, there's of that landing page, which is rabbibarclay.com. Landing page. Rabbi Barclay, friend, how are you?
It's good to see you, Karen. Thank you for all that you and your audience do to make the world a better place.
Well, you're the man. Good to see you. So much to talk about. Where do I start with you? What's your take on the Middle East today? What's your 30,000-foot view?
That's another day in paradise. Look, we keep going through the same dance over and over. This cessation, it's not a ceasefire, but this temporary cessation is, let's be honest, a joke. It always has been. Iran is going to keep doing what they're doing. Trump is either going to step up and keep putting pressure and trying to remove the regime, or he's not. He's going to listen to J.D. Vance, who wants to negotiate, or he's going to listen to Marco Rubio, who realizes that Iran is an existential danger to Western civilization. And right now, we're just in that pattern, as we've been for the last 3 days, of waiting and holding and seeing what's going to happen. And every day that happens, Iran develops more weapons.
Yeah, I mean, satellite images over the weekend showing that they're rapidly rebuilding what they've lost. How damaged do you think they are at the moment?
I think on the one hand, they were damaged a lot, and on the other hand, we have no idea what's under Pickaxe Mountain. And there's certainly reports from Israel and from U.S. intelligence that even a month and a half ago, they had more weaponry and were closer to finishing a nuclear weapon now in early June than they were a year ago. So I think there's a reason that Bibi Netanyahu got up and is flying to meet with Trump as we speak right now. He's in the air. Mm-hmm. And will be showing different things to Trump and to his advisors. And look, I think President Trump is a brilliant CEO and a brilliant man who listens to advisors. And I think the challenge is he's got advisors on both sides. And one, Rubio's been saying what he's been saying since 2011. He recognizes it. And Vance is more siding with Tucker Carlson and trying to go that route. So I think Trump's got to make up his mind, and hopefully he'll listen to Bibi. And with God's help, we can get rid of this regime and get rid of their dangers.
So the Prime Minister and the President are going to meet probably late today or tomorrow for sure. And did I hear you say that the Prime Minister could be bringing fresh new information to the President to consider?
That's what reports are coming out of Israel over the last weekend, that Bibi is coming to America with fresh intelligence. So that's just the reports coming out of different news sites in Israel. So that's the validity or not validity of it.
you've mentioned, and some other people have mentioned too, the concern of those immediately around the president giving him advice. And so far, every time the president has tried to do something in negotiations, it's failed. Do you think he sees this, or is he really trying to get something through an advisor that may not be accomplishable?
I think Donald Trump, at the end of the day, and I certainly hope, I don't know the man, that there's a level of compassion within him and realizes that anytime there's war, people die. And there's nothing to celebrate in that process.
Right.
He's the consummate deal maker, so he wants to make a deal. The challenge is that President Trump has lived his life based on the idea of peace and prosperity. If I can give you prosperity, you're going to be happy with me having prosperity and we have peace. The real challenge is in dealing with Iran and with these clerics is that they're not motivated by peace and prosperity. And it's an entire upside down type of negotiation. In the West, we believe in mutually assured destruction, that concept kept peace between the U.S. and the Soviet Union for many years. No one wanted to destroy both countries. In Islam, they're happy to destroy themselves if it destroys the kafir, the infidel. And it's upside down for Trump, who is so experienced in the one type of negotiation, but really isn't theologically. It's a big flip. I mean, think about it. Iran is not interested in oil, power, money, or anything else. They're interested in creating a worldwide caliphate as defined by the Quran. It's why I've said for a very long time, to me, Iran is much more dangerous than the Soviet Union and China combined, because they are fanatical and are willing to die for their fanaticism.
Therefore, we don't understand the philosophy, I guess, theology of a death cult, where you're willing to die to kill others.
It's contrary to every Western value.
Yeah.
Think about our nation is built on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, upon the individual relationship that each person has with God. Their theology is based on creating a worldwide caliphate and taking anyone who does not agree with them, and either they need to be enslaved, converted, or killed. That's not something that is in any way, shape, or form in Western civilization's consciousness.
Yeah.
It's not Jewish, it's not Christian, it's not American, and it's entirely foreign. And until we wake up and realize that this is their attitude, we're going to keep getting ourselves in more and more danger. We see it in New York with Bandami. We see it with the jihadi communities in Europe and now in America. We need to be aware of what's really going on. I may not think of someone as my enemy, but if they think of me as their enemy and they want me dead, I need to be conscious and aware of that so I can respond appropriately.
Rabbi, do you know if the leadership in Iran is divided right now?
I have no idea. There are obviously reports that they are. There are reports that Khamenei is not alive. There's reports that he left the country. There's reports that he's fine. There's reports that he's disfigured. There's reports that the IRGC is in charge, that certain clerics are in charge. There's no way to really know. And anyone who hypothesizes really isn't being honest. We don't know. There may be people who know in intelligence, but most of us don't know. Excuse me.
All right, I've been trying to figure out how to ask this question, so forgive me if I bumble it a little bit.
Gary, you're an amazing man. You don't get it. Anything you do is not bumbling.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm trying to figure out Jews worldwide, from the very liberal New York Jew to the Orthodox Jew in Israel. Has this happening in Iran changed their thinking? Are they collectively together now realizing that the enemy's been exposed and something's being done about it?
You didn't bumble the question at all. Look, I wish I could say that every Jew woke up on October 8th, the day after.
Okay.
It didn't. Their heads imploded. It shocked and changed their reality. Remember, 80 to 90% of Jews, just like 80 to 90% of Christians, are two-day-a-year Christians. 80 to 90% of Jews are two-day-a-year Jews. And many of them have given up, as I've discussed before, they've given up their theology to convert not to another religion, but to secular leftism. For those people, their heads imploded on October 8th, the day after. How could this be? How can this be happening? But rather than change their consciousness, for many of them, they just went back to where they were within 2 or 3 months. It's people put it in the rearview mirror because it's hard to integrate what happened on October 7th. But I will never forget that day, and I hope no one does. That's why I write an email every single day except for Shabbat, the Sabbath, that goes out to a few thousand people about what's really going on in the Middle East. Because I think we should all be talking about it. We need to be aware of it. And people want to put it in the rearview mirror because that's easier to put it in a closet than it is to deal with the fact that their entire worldview is upside down. So sadly, 43% of New York Jews under the age of 30 voted for Mondami, and 30% of all Jews in New York voted for Mondami.
I'm just in my brain, trying to figure out how do you go from 9/11 to Mondani?
It is the chicken vote for Colonel Sanders. That's really what it is. And we have lost the war of public relations. We have lost that whole conflict. The alliance that's been very smartly done by the Islamic jihadists is to ally themselves with democratic socialists, with far-left causes, with all these things. I mean, really think about it. When you see a sign that says gays for Palestine, when if they went to any of these Arab nations, they would be beheaded, as opposed to Israel as an inclusive society. When you see that sign in those groups, it's craziness. It literally is the chicken calling, voting for Colonel Sanders. Yet it's what you see over and over in these colleges and in these different places. Bernie Sanders would be killed in any Arab country. It doesn't matter if he's not a practicing Jew. His mother was Jewish. He would be killed. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Wow.
AOC would live in a hijab, which might be better for all of us. But she would be. That's what she would be.
What's your take of Mondani wanting to kill the prime minister? Or arrest him, I guess, first. Arrest him first, but eliminate him second.
Look, Mondami is on the show The Rabbi's Table that I do. I had Tommy Robinson as a guest. I don't know if you know Tommy or not.
Right.
He made a great comment. Mondami is a Muslim first, second, and third. He's not a socialist. He is a Muslim in a socialist sheep's clothing.
Okay.
You can tell that by, if he was really socialist, he would care about the people that are being flooded. He'd care about the people that were suffering in the snow. He doesn't. His whole goal is to destroy New York as we know it. And with that, destroy the financial capital of this nation. And with that, destroy Western civilization. That's who he is and what he is.
Okay.
It's that simple.
All right.
Bad guy.
Mind-boggling. Let me take a quick break. Check out the Rabbi's website, Rabbi Michael Barclay. There's a picture of the landing page for his yes, and that is RabbiMichaelBarclay.com. We'll take a quick break.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Monday, tormented by his past.
I couldn't remember everything.
Haunted by the shadows.
I was suicidal at the age of 7.
And being driven to an early grave.
You need to go to the emergency room right now.
How a visitor healed him, mind and body.
If I had opened my eyes and saw the Lord sitting there, I would have not been surprised.
Watch the 700 Club Monday morning at 11 on the Dove TV. The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets a Vision TV show apart, seen on theDove TV.
Welcome to The Vision, where the world has a view, but God has the vision.
The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference.
My group, we are a collective of elder rights activists from across the nation.
Each episode blends heartfelt storytelling with practical insight.
To get up every day and just say, Lord, thank you. I'm here. If you woke me up today, you must have a purpose for me, and I think that's the thing.
Encouraging viewers to live with clarity, compassion, and vision.
We are looking for good things because this is the day that the Lord has made.
Join Alveda King and a panel of friends. The world has a view, but God has the vision. Tuesdays at 1:30 and 8:30 p.m. right here on theDove TV.
Welcome back. Such an honor to have back with us today Rabbi Michael Barclay. His website is rabbimichaelbarclay.com. I would certainly encourage you to check that out and become a part of the things that. Rabbi, another tough. Let me paraphrase it. That in the past, during all of this exchange in the Middle East, the presidents basically said to the prime minister, "Stand down or sit down." And I don't know how that's being thought and played out, but I guess it does produce a question. At what point, if America doesn't finish the job, will Israel finish the job?
I think and pray that the answer is unquestionably yes. Israel's made it clear that if the slightest piece of shrapnel falls on Israeli ground, they're going after Iran full board.
Okay.
We don't know the relationship between Bibi and Trump, and I don't buy that anyone can make either of those two men do anything they don't want to do.
Okay. So, thank you. Great answer. The other part of this question is difficult to ask because it's in the news, and I'm going to get pushback on it, but you're my guest today, and you're the man.
I'm not sure how to take that.
You already kind of commented on it. So what's with Vice President J.D. Vance, Megyn Kelly, and Tucker Carlson?
You know, Perry, you may or may not know this. I was actually the first person to call out both Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson in writing as anti-Semites almost 3 years ago, which everyone said, you're crazy. They're not. I got canceled. I received hundreds of death threats, thousands of pieces of hate mail from their fans, and it's been proven to be true in both their cases. Rather than go with Megyn Kelly, who I think is vacuous, as I think Tucker Carlson is, I think most of these people aren't really intelligent. They have great writers they've worked with in the past. I think what's important is J.D. Vance. And it seems pretty clear from the outside, at least, that Vice President Vance really wants to become president. Remember, this is a guy who's never a Trumper. This is the guy who said he'd vote for Clinton over Trump. There's lots of video on that. He wants to be president. And I think he has decided that his pathway to the presidency is through Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and the Groypers and the anti-Semites and the people filled with hate. So I don't know what's in J.D. Vance's heart. I hope it's only good. But he has chosen to side and be a mouthpiece, a voice for those people. You know, he's very close with Tucker. He had employed Tucker's son for many years. And I think sadly, it seems as if it's just an issue of politics. He thinks that's his pathway to the White House, and he has no issue in abandoning ethics or anything else in order to get to that White House, which is very scary to me.
I guess I'm trying to figure out what happened to these people. At one point, they were very solid conservatives, and then all of a sudden, these little bits and pieces fall off their wagon, so to speak, and you kind of go, what's going on?
I don't know that they were ever conservatives. Candace Owens started as a liberal. She learned about branding, working at a magazine, and then came out suddenly. She was the one young black female conservative, which was being monitored by other companies, and she was embraced by the conservative movement, by Rager, by Shapiro by the different people. When she found a bigger sugar daddy, for lack of a better term, with her current husband, who's the son of a billionaire, she suddenly sided with whatever his politics are, and he's very close with the Tate brothers, an example, who have just been arrested. Tucker Carlson was monitored very clearly. There are many concerns. I understand that Rush Limbaugh said never trust Tucker, but Tucker was monitored at Fox very, very carefully, what he could and couldn't say. Went off on his own. His original company was paid for in a majority part by Pakistani investors, and suddenly he is off on this world too. So I don't know that media personalities are typically committed to the politics.
How is the Jewish resolve in America, and how is the Jewish resolve in Israel?
I just got back from Israel, and you can see on my face how happy it was to be home, because I think that is our home. I live here, but my heart is always in Israel. In Israel, they're living life. They are living life with an existential threat around them, realizing they will do what they need to do, and there's a very positive attitude. In America, the Jewish community, as it always is divided. It's why we say 2 Jews equals 3 rabbis, 4 opinions, and 5 synagogues. So, the Jewish opinion is always very divided here between basically secular and then more observant. But in Israel, there's a real cohesion, and they're for all what the media portrays Israel, it's not accurate. There is a joy there, a joy of life. If you look at the Tel Aviv beach, they're jogging at 5 in the morning. There's hundreds of people, and they're all day playing volleyball until 1 in the morning. So I think that there is a cohesion with that. In the United States, American Jews have never been cohesive. So I don't think that's changed.
Christian history, American Christian history will certainly tell you about the Judeo-Christian foundation of all of this. We just celebrated 250 years as Americans, and the Judeo-Christian part of that heritage is very significant. Your heart's in Israel, your citizenship's in America. How do you manage that?
With great difficulty. The Rebbe of Chabad, who died a number of years ago, Schneerson, said he had many opportunities to go to Israel. He didn't go because he said, if I go, I'm going to want to stay. When I'm in Israel, there's a different way of breathing. There isn't anti-Semitism, which I'm conscious of, and even if I wasn't conscious, I'd be aware of it unconsciously. My dedication is to America, and my soul part of it is always in Israel. I feel torn most of the time, Perry, quite honestly, because my soul and my spiritual home is there, and this is where I don't have any desire to move to Israel. This is the country that I serve. These are the people that I serve. This is the choice of where I want to be and the place that I want to give all of my effort to make a better place, which specifically America and specifically California, Southern California. But there's a part of my soul that is always, always in that land where King David walked and Jesus walked.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Do you sense a greater connection with the Christian base in America, or is it weakening?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I've said this a lot, and I'll say it till the end of my days. I am closer and have a better relationship and more simpatico and more in common with a pastor like Jack Hibbs or Rob McCoy than I do with a secular Jew or secular rabbi.
Okay.
These are my brothers. We share the same theology. Yeah, there's this little difference about whether we believe, what our beliefs about Jesus are, but basically we're the same guys. And I love the Christian community with all of my heart. It's why when my friend Rob's church was being attacked, I was the first one standing with him, for staying open during COVID. So to me, the Christian community is, as I say, I'm closer with Christians who've accepted Christ into their heart and with pastors than I am with many rabbis or Jews.
That's quite a statement.
It's a blessing.
Do you think that we understand God's covenant with the land of Israel, the nation of Israel?
That's such a great question. I was just discussing this with someone yesterday.
I got about a minute. Go.
The land has its own consciousness. And God made a covenant with the land and the people. And the land does have its own consciousness. Look at the last verses of the book of Deuteronomy. It sings to us, we sing to it, and there is a simpatico, and we need to keep that relationship alive, vibrant, with Jews, with Christians, and with God.
Yeah. Because right now, Israel's about a third of its original real estate contract with God. It's only about a third of its size.
God keeps his contracts.
Yes, he does.
He's not around. He keeps his deals.
Yeah. How are you praying these days?
As often as I can. Hopefully with every moment. That's why you go. Maybe that's why I love Israel. You feel like you're in a prayerful moment every moment, just walking on the stones.
Good for you. Good for you. Let me say to our viewers and listeners a couple things here. You can go to the rabbi's website, RabbiMichaelBarclay.com. That's there. Of course, check out his there for Jewish journal, and check out his book, Sacred Relationships, Biblical Wisdom for Deepening Our Lives Together. There's a picture of the cover of that book on the screen. And check out his podcast, The Rabbi's Table, Dialogue, Not Debate. And all that's available at the normal podcast sites. Thank you, friend. Good to see you. God bless you. And
God bless you, Perry. Thank you for all you and Dove do. And God bless you and your family and your audience in every good way.
Thank you, friend. Stay connected. Good to see you.
You too. Take care.